Monetized.
The end of the year is nearly here. And that means that everybody is focused on the future. They're focused on 2025. Nobody really thinking about what's left in 2024 anymore. There's very little news, comic book wise, hanging around. Everything is focused on the future. So I thought we would also focus on the future of the big two and talk about what they have in store for us coming in 2025, but also what we think they need to do in 2025 to gain and sustain momentum, particularly in the case of DC Comics, throughout the beginning and middle and end of 2025 to have another stellar year. Because I do think overall comics had a great year. I would love to see that continue. There are some things they need to do. We're going to talk about that throughout the show. We have Marco.
What's a perspective, dogs?
We've got Tyler.
I would never eat something called a perspective dog. Like, are we sure it's meat? Is it going to be meat in the future?
It's impossible.
No,
It's an
thank you.
impossible meat.
I never thought I would say this, but I'm Sean and I miss Cale.
Cale, come back.
Yeah, because I don't want to hear any more of what Marco has to say about dogs. I feel like this is going to get weird soon.
Somebody say dogs? What kind of dogs? Sorry, that's a foot joke.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for being here with us, whether you are live or in the future. Really appreciate you hanging out. Thank you. We've got a lot to talk about today. We aren't just going to talk about the future of Marvel and DC. We're going to talk about what book sold the most this year in 2024, what comic sold the most. We are going to kick off our Image Comics top five, Image Comics of the 2010s. And we're going to play a game later. If
We hit the like goal. If we hit the like
if
goal.
we hit the goal,
Yeah.
yes. Yes, indeed. What's the goal? 60.
All right, you're much more mature than me. It's not the first number that came to mind.
Oh, God. The
Oh,
goal will be 60. If we hit 60 likes, we'll spin the wheel a bit later. We'll play a game. We'll do all that good stuff. The last thing I wanted to say, and I'll have to repeat it again because I want to make sure that we've got more people in here to hear this message, is we've tallied the results for the book club, but quite frankly, we need more nominations because there were just way too many different books nominated and not enough of the same pick. So we need more nominations. If you haven't nominated a book for the Image 2010s book club, we definitely need you to sound off. So what I'm going to do right now
I'm sharing the
is
link.
I'm actually going to share the link to that. I'll share the Patreon link. You don't even have to be a paid subscriber to jump on board. We just really need you to comment with the Image 2010s book that you most want to hear us talk about for the book club.
So the spread of books is just too spread at this point.
Yeah, it's just way
A
too
lot
it's
of a
way
lot
too
of single
crazy.
votes. Got it.
Yeah, unbelievable. I appreciate everybody voting or nominating rather, I should say, but we just need more nominations. So do make sure you do that. It'll take you 2 seconds, and you'll help us out a lot. All right.
End.
Yes, thank you. So the big two have big jobs to do going into 2025. I think that both companies, to some degree, have set the stage to have big years. Marvel has some big things going on coming down the pike in 2025. We know about the One World of Doom and all that good stuff, but DC does too. So we're going to start with the DC side of things as far as what we know their plans are. DC had an unbelievable 2024, probably their best overall year. I mean, a lot of people would say since the Rebirth era. I might even go a bit further back than that, but at least in 8 years, this is the healthiest that DC has been. We had the launch of the compact editions, which was huge. The Absolute Universe launched, of course. The All In initiative was great. So, you're really, as far as like the biggest impact that DC had, you're looking at the last few months. But overall, it's been a great year. We had Absolute Power as their big summer event, which was, pretty successful and well received. So DC did a great job in 2024. What do they have to do, or rather, what do we have to look forward to from them in 2025? And I thought I would start with the initiative that, really showcased that DC had some chutzpah, some big plans and willingness to do some big things, and that's the the compact edition initiative. 2025 promises a new slate of these books, and I wanted to go over them right now. So we'll kick things off with Kingdom Come. That's the first new compact edition that we're getting in 2025. It's dropping on May 6th. This is Mark Waid and Alex Ross. I feel like this is one of those books where it's absolutely perfect for this format.
Just makes sense. A classic. Well, one of those that I feel like people can go back to and are separate from the DC world. And so for me, I think that makes a lot of sense. They're not directly integrated into weekly comic. It's a way for you to come into the fold as a first touch point for comics, and in this case for DC Comics.
It's funny because I think when we, at the slate, the original slate of these compact comics, Kingdom Come was like one of the ones was like, oh, where is that? But I think it's a smart move to make it kind of an anchor of one of the second waves or one of the third waves actually at this point.
Yeah.
Because it does take it's. Is it a great book that's a good one and done? Yes, but it does do better if you've already dipped your toe in DC. So I don't know if I can recommend it to everyone, but now that the compact comics are out, now that there's a lot of different kinds out there, let's put one that might be a little more harder to grasp at some points.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this choice, and if you talk about it as an anchor book, what it exists alongside definitely gives me the impression that it was chosen for that position because it's releasing alongside Static Season 1, which is definitely the most recent of all the compact books to this point. I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
because
I think
that
so.
Static Season 1 is like the last 4 years,
Yeah,
I think. That's
Far
Vita
Sector,
Ayala
yeah.
and Nicholas Draper Ivy.
that's
Far
right.
Sector
Yeah.
was the closest before this, but I think definitely this
That's
is more recent.
yeah, that's definitely after that.
hmm
Uh,
Go ahead.
Good call. I mean, interesting that they go with Static. I wonder what the thought is there. In when it comes to your typical weekly comics, Static's not a big presence. A lot of the milestone characters aren't necessarily, and maybe this is like reaching the audience of the people who grew up on the cartoon. Um, it's a curious choice, so I'm interested to see how that one performs because I feel like it's not the character is not like up there with people I would first think to put out.
I think it's a really smart choice because Static, while he's not as popular in the comics, he's certainly the most popular milestone character. And his popularity exists more outside the comic space because of the TV show. So if compact comics are meant to attract people who don't typically read comics, which is what I think sort of DC's after, then Static is one of those characters who makes a ton of sense because there are always people who are like, well, what happened to Static? I remember watching that as a kid, and now DC has something to show them. It's like, hey, here's Static for $10, and it's got insanely good artwork
Mm.
from Nicholas Draper Ivy. So I love this choice. Um, they also announced Deceased.
Oh,
Yeah,
Who died?
Tom Taylor.
Oh, the book.
Tre- yeah, Tom Taylor, Trevor Harrison, and Stefano Guadino. Their Deceased series is coming. Deceased is one of those like really popular books that exists. It's a pretty, I don't know if it was ever labeled in Elseworlds, but it certainly is that concept. And it's been doing pretty well for a while. I think they're on their fifth volume, their fifth edition of it. Tom Taylor's not even on it anymore. Matthew Rosenberg, I believe, has taken over the reins of that, but it's pretty a pretty big deal.
Have you been reading it at all?
Hell no.
So it is not a book I typically read, but I pick up this and DC versus Vampires all the time, and they're both phenomenal books. DC's has no right being as good as it is. It allows the world to go on as characters die, mantles change. Green Lantern rings go to interesting people. Uh, it's a really, really interesting and fun book. I think the most recent arc was like Apocalypse Dark Side. He was deceased. He was a zombie. How do you fight that? It was really fun actually.
It's funny because you say, "How do you fight that?" And I'm kind of like, I don't know. How do you fight regular Darkseid? Like I always thought that was so goofy. Like the Marvel zombies. That's why I can't read that stuff because I feel like everyone's more dangerous as not a zombie than as a zombie.
Well, these zombies still retain their mental like they still retain like whatever like they hate the most is
I
still
see.
within them. So they can still they're not like shambling zombies.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I think it's a good. Tom Taylor is one of those good writers for like the Elseworlds type stuff. He has his own little mini universes. So I think that's a good choice because he definitely knows how to set up a world that is DC adjacent. And I think that's a good thing because you can get your flavors of the world, but it's separate from the things that matter day to day. So there's still an opportunity to jump in and dive further.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. They also announced that we will be getting Batwoman Elegy. That's going to come. We've talked about this book plenty of times. Greg Rucka, J.H. Williams III. This is one of those tests for me, just in terms of the format, because J.H. Williams' art is incredibly good, but it's also the one that breaks the comics format the most in terms of paneling. So I'll be interested to see if it translates as well to the smaller size. I'm sure it probably will, but you know, there's always something lost in translation.
I also worry about just because how compact it is, the spine's a little tighter.
Yeah.
So how do you get those double page spreads to look right um, with the spine being as, bound as it is?
Mhm. Yeah. And then the final book of I guess if we're going by waves, from this wave is Superman Birthright. That's Mark Wade, Lineal Francis Yu, Jerry Alangwilan, who I believe is no longer with us. I've never read Superman Birthright.
Me neither. That's not one I've read.
Yeah, same a gap.
I believe that's one of Cale's favorites, from what I remember. Maybe. I could be speaking out of turn.
Could
It's
be.
weird because this might be the first of all these announcements where it's like, oh, this is a book that I haven't read, that I probably should read, that I might read for the first time in this format. I might do that.
Which compact comic do you have currently?
Well, I bought which ones were the ones I was able to find? I got All
All Star?
Star,
Yeah.
Superman, I got Far Sector,
Right.
and I think I got either Hush or Court of Owls, one of those two.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this
So
might be a good one to pick up then.
Yeah.
for $10, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. It's a low bar to entry. It's also a Mark Wade book. Um, Two of these so far have been, and he's the guy right now. He's leading the charge when it comes to the direction of the DC Universe weekly. So I'm sure this is also an idea of like, oh, hey, I've read this. Hey, I recognize this guy. Hey, wait a minute, he's doing this. Oh, interesting. Maybe it's a way to again transition people into that next level, that next depth.
Sure.
And look at Michael Nadeau in the chat. Second wave of compact that's looking more appealing to me. There you go. They're able to tackle different tastes now.
Yeah.
And it's funny you call out Michael because he's a newer reader, and I feel like when you have people like that who are looking at a list like this, right, and they're going, shoot, I haven't read most of this. You could drop 50, $60 and read some of DC's biggest stories ever, and in some cases be caught up or near caught up on a lot of books that are always in the conversation.
Hmm.
It's like reading the Hall of Fame for cheap.
It's crazy.
And I'm
Yep.
hoping they can keep the price down too, especially if production costs get more expensive. If tariffs actually happen,
Oh
which we've talked
gosh.
about,
Yeah.
because I think this initiative is kind of anchored by the fact that it is so cheap. As soon as it
Mhm.
stops becoming so cheap, it's just like, all right, well, I'll just get the normal one, and then it kind of falls apart.
Well, I mean, does it? Because the normal one, I mean, presumably these are being built out in the same fashion as a trade. The trade goes up. This still becomes a drastically different price point. This goes up to, let's say, instead of 10 to 15, but the trade goes from 25 to 30. So like at that
Sure,
point
the other stuff
you're
would go up.
aiming,
Yeah,
yeah, like maybe there's some diminishing return.
I think in comparison to the rest of the industry, you're right, Marco, but it goes back to what what I complained about earlier in the year when we discussed these compact editions, where it's like now everybody thinks, oh man, comics are so cheap, and they're not. So when you look at the Marvel Premiere collection, which is the same exact concept, and we're going to talk about that more later, it's $15. And when it was first announced, people were saying, "Oh, wow, look at that. Marvel charging 15. That's so expensive compared to DC's 10." But it's a steal. I
Yeah.
would kill to get some of those books for $15. Are you kidding me? You know how much it cost me to buy Ed Brubaker's Captain America and singles, and now you can get, a whole bulk of the run for $15. Miss me with that complaining. Um, so let's run through the rest of 2025 as far as these compacts are concerned. We've got Authority Book One coming. That makes sense because the Authority movie's on the horizon, so you want to get that out there. Uh, Superman Batman Book One, again, a no-brainer. I have no idea what happens in this comic book
I
because
never
I've
read it.
never read it, but it's Superman, it's Batman. Hello. And it's got man, it's Jeff Lowe, Michael Turner, Ed McGuinness. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
if you Google images of Superman or Batman, you're probably getting a page from this book.
I'm gonna get
Yeah,
this.
those Michael Turner images are iconic.
New Frontier. That is the biggie, right?
It's my
You
favorite
talk
DC
about
book
an
of all
anchor
time.
book.
Yeah. Actually, and the
Uh
Darwin Cook art would lend itself well to the smaller format. I have the Catwoman that he did in compact. It looks great in compact.
do you guys get this in compact?
Yeah, 100%.
I think I get New Frontier in compact. Yeah, yeah. I think that's going to be a good gift for me because that's the one I talk about all the time. Like, if you want to talk about DC Comics to me, I'm going to bring up New Frontier.
Yeah, Steve Matthews brings up a good point. I can see me picking up the compact of New Frontier by Cook in 2025, and a week later getting the Absolute Edition. Damn, double
I
dip on that
mean,
shit. Hell yeah.
Sean, when is the second wave coming out?
So, as far as like the waves, I really don't know the
Okay,
exact whether it's wave two, three, four, five, but um the Authority is July 1st, Superman Batman
perfect,
is July
perfect.
15th, New Frontier is August 5th,
Oh,
so on
okay.
and so forth.
What
We
I
got
like
we
to
got
call these
time.
things in my head are great beach books. Like,
Sure.
these are good. Like, I'm on vacation, if and then you're by a pool, by a beach. It's hard to read it digitally because of the sun. These compact things are a godsend for that.
Tyler's an island girly.
We're also getting Wonder Woman Blood and Guts. This is the new 52 Wonder Woman by Brian Azzarello and Cliff Chang.
Hell yeah.
I like that as an addition. Although I think they should get Gail Simone's Wonder Woman in there. But we're also getting Death from
Oh,
Neil
okay.
Gaiman. It says what the heck? It says Death by Neil Gaiman. Who drew this? I'm on DC's website. It doesn't say.
I think it's one of those things where it's a lot of different people who drew it.
Yeah. Michael Zulli, maybe?
Yeah, but it might just be like too much to list all because there's like I forget.
I mean, they can't give me one person because they gave us, Ed McGuinness and Michael Turner on Superman, Batman.
I mean, they're even saying Neil Gaiman's name at this point, which is rare.
Yeah, it's Chris Bacalo and Mark Buckingham.
They couldn't say
Well, they
two
couldn't.
people.
No
Wait, is Chris
credits.
Bacalo on that?
Yeah,
Oh, dude, '90s
yeah.
This
Chris
is.
Bacalo is so good.
Can I just say, by the way, I don't know if you guys remember, Gavin was on the show 2 weeks ago. Gavin talked about, Gavin, one of our favorites, is a tremendous artist, and he talked about, the crediting of artists and the way that people talk about artists and whose responsibility that is. And I pointed to the companies. Look at this shit. This is
Yep.
what I'm talking about.
Do you think just having Neil Gaiman's name on this is because they're appealing to the book market and they just wanted to say Neil Gaiman, just like American Gods or Anansi Boys, like they wanted to look like that, which I get, but that's fucking stupid and that's rude, honestly.
I
Yeah,
mean, if that's the angle, then why does Watchmen credit Dave Gibbons?
Sure.
Like I think that would be a really weird decision to make for just the one book. And yeah, not crediting artists for any reason, strategic or otherwise, to me that's a sin. I don't think you ever do that. That's crazy.
yeah. Agreed.
Um, but yeah, so we've also got Harley Quinn Wild at Heart that drops in September. Bit of a no, that's a great choice actually. That's the Amanda Connor, Jimmy
Oh yeah,
Palmiotti. That was very popular.
it's when she
Oh,
went to
was that New
Brooklyn and
52?
Coney Island, right?
I think that is New 52.
Yeah, it's like later wave of New 52.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the
Okay,
Power
that's
Girl
a
team.
yeah. I've never read it, but I've always heard good things about it. That's like where that's where I feel like Harley Quinn's stars started to rise.
Dude, I think she's literally in Coney Island. Like she goes to New York instead.
That's
I think
funny.
you'd like it, Marco. There's a guy in there that's a complete knockoff on Deadpool, like literally. That's
That's
in her
good.
supporting cast.
They're also doing The Long Halloween. That's again another one of those like anchor books. This is, that's a great release. I feel like it could have come a little sooner, but I'm not going to quibble. Why the Last Man?
Oh, excellent choice.
Theoretically, my question is how much of it are they putting out in this format? Are they doing the whole thing in one shot? They breaking it up? You can't do the whole thing in one shot.
No, no
No,
way.
no, that's like you're looking at an omnibus compendium size for that.
Yeah,
And
that's
it
like
does say book one, so
Okay, it's
yeah.
listed as book one. Cool.
Okay, yeah. That's if it's it depends how they package it because I have it in. So when I was buying it, I have it in two different formats. It's so annoying. It looks terribly on the bookshelf. I have it as trades, which collect like 6 issues. So I have the first trade, the second trade, then I have three deluxe editions, which are essentially a combination of two, and then I have the book ending that two trades, 9 and 10.
When we're done with the show, Marco, you're gonna fix that. That is annoying. The fact that
No,
I know that
it's there.
exists.
It's there now.
I
That's
know I
it.
know why is in the title, but you don't need to make it the question of how you've, collected it.
that's crazy.
It's frustrating. I look at it and I hate it.
Wow. V for Vendetta, another Alan
Oh,
Moore joint with
sure.
David Lloyd.
I've never read it. And I have
Get
really
no
no
way.
interest in reading V for Vendetta. I don't know why. It's just like it's the meme mask guy, right? Like
It's pretty good.
It's yeah, it's a good, really good comic. And then We Three,
Oh,
Grant Morrison, Frank Quitely.
Chimo.
That's how they're closing out the year. That drops November 18th. So a pretty great slate, I think, overall. Like I have no real criticism of this slate. I guess if I had to offer one, I would say it would be nice if they would have done some book twos. Like it would have been cool to follow up on
Mm.
the Batman by Snyder and Capullo stuff. But that's not really that big of a deal. They're giving us a spread, and I think that's a really smart play overall. I love the choices. Some of it motivated by outside media, most of it core comics. Very great choices. Whoever is behind this, they know what they're doing.
Mm. Do you think that uh that maybe they're teaching people who are coming in potentially the wrong lesson with some of those continuing series. Batman #1 will have a follow up. The Court of Owls will continue, right? But and I don't know what the like how it's if anything's changed, if there's no like to be continued type thing in the last couple issues or something. But uh, do you think that that makes people who are coming into this think that they can pick up a trade or a sequence of issues and that's it? That is, it is bound to the 6 to the 8 issue arc, or that arcs are in and of themselves consumable in that way.
I think they're teaching readers the right things, in so much that, hey, collect a book. You'll never know if you finish it. Welcome to comics,
Wow.
Don't get your hopes up.
especially for collected editions. Good luck starting a new line.
Yeah.
Unreal. Matt Fisher with the 49.99, dropping a bomb early on us today, Matt. Thank you so much for kicking the super chats off with such a huge, generous offer. What's up, you delightful band of Cockney pickpockets? We're not picking
Who
your
told you?
pocket, brother. I'm way too excited for the Ultimates OS this week. Do people in the Discord ever sleep? Can we please get a new Kyle Rayner book? Is there any hope of Tim fronting a long-lasting solo again? So, do people in the Discord ever sleep? Part A, no. Part
Never.
B, we have a global community. So there are a lot of people who are awake when you're sleeping because they're on different parts of the world. It's a beautiful thing. Is there any hope of Tim fronting a long-lasting solo again? Absolutely not.
Who?
Kill your dreams now. Tim Drake has been dead since Damian Wayne was born. I am sorry to say that is the case.
So are
Oh,
you
I
a
know
Tim Drake
Damien.
hater?
Huh?
Are you a Tim Drake hater?
No, absolutely not. Tim Drake was Robin when I first jumped into comics. I got no problem with him whatsoever. I'm just saying the fact that, Damian came out and Tim has barely mattered since.
Tim was your Robin when he came to comics, and he was subsequently got his ass kicked by a little kid.
Yeah, he was Robin for 2 seconds. He mattered as Robin when I started reading comics. And then, can we please get a new Kyle Rayner book? I think that is more likely than what you said about Tim, but still probably not going to happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't put your hopes up for a Kyle Rayner solo book. Kyle Rayner's one of those characters where if they need a new team for Green Lanterns, he could lead that team, like a New Guardians or something like that. But solo, there's too many at this point.
Maybe a mini.
Nah, slap Guy Gardner on that one.
Fuck no. Guy Gardner, the only time Guy Gardner gets to be in a mini is when he's getting punked out by the Human Target.
Yo, word. God, what a good book.
For real. GK Ultra dropping $4.99 on us. Interesting to see these ranging from 3 to 13 issues. Crazy work for the price point. These make really good gifts to get your buddies into the hobby. Dude, yeah, absolutely. Yep. And again, that's the point of them. I love them for that. I just don't like them as I don't know. I've done the whole rap before. I like them as ways to get new people into the industry. I don't like them as me, Sean, comic book veteran, buying Batman, Superman for $10 because that's way too cheap. Like, it bothers me how cheap that is because I know that is just too damn cheap. It's too cheap.
Heard it here first, guys. Raise the comic prices.
Matt Fisher dropping another $4.99 on us. Before I go, until Bruce actually marries Selena, make mine comics pals. I love you, Dr. Zeus. Hey, Matt, first of all, what you're saying is forever because Bruce and Selena ain't never getting married. That's not going to happen. So making yours the comics pals forever. I love that for you. I love it for us. Thank you, Matt.
You're making a lifelong commitment to us, unlike Bruce making one to Selena.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, she wouldn't make it to him. Wasn't that the idea?
Oh, yeah, true. Well, there's your story now. Bruce could have cold feet next time. And thank you for the Simpsons reference. I love you, Dr. Science. Isn't that from the Planet of the Apes musical from The Simpsons?
No idea.
Gorilla City?
Wrong. No. No. No.
While we're at it, I want to say hello to Hendrik Perry, Chop Harder Alchemist. What's up, my dude? Get Shitty. What's going on? MP, the man MP. How's it going, MP? Jasper Eddie, what you doing, Jasper? You having a good time this morning? Cole, good to see you, Cole. Uncanny Suit, what's good? Gage, how's it going, Gage? Steve Matthews, always a pleasure. Atomic Hound, my man, the man around these parts. I gotta get Atomic Hound deputized somehow. That's the one. He's the one.
And Atomic Count making an announcement here. Mini book club on December 16th in Discord. If you want to talk about the Kree Skrull War, Avengers, Inhumans, Mandroids, Roy Thomas. I don't know what's scarier, Mandroids or Roy Thomas. John and Sal Buscema, Neil Adams, Avengers 89 to 97. I actually might that is interesting to me. I've never read that, so I think I might check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might want to jump on there too. Oh, and Absolute Overthinker here with us too. Those are just the names that I can see right now. So thank you all for being here with us. We've got over 70 of you hanging out. Make sure you smash the like button so that we can play a game a little bit later on. We're going to spin the wheel if we get to the likes goal of 60. So, all right, let's keep things rocking. We talked about the compact editions. I think DC's doing a great job in that department. So to me, that's a check. They've got 2025 sewn up. They made some great decisions. So let's not even linger on it anymore. Let's move forward. They're bringing out Aquaman #1. That's huge for Marco. The return of Aquaman to the
Finally.
stands.
God.
And they're doing it with a pretty hot creative team. Jeremy Adams, who right now, other than this announcement, only has one book, that being Green Lantern. So they're capitalizing on somebody who feels like they have a hot hand, and they're pairing him with a tremendous artist in John Timms to take a character who needs a revival really badly and go the Jeff Johns route and go from Green Lantern to Aquaman. Hopefully he can have the same effect on the character that Jeff Johns did.
This is exciting for me. Yeah, I'm excited for
Yeah.
this. And also, a smart way to put the cover of Aquaman riding a shark. Like, just appeal to the lowest common denominator in the best way. That's the coolest part about Aquaman.
The power set being a little bit different too,
Yeah.
changing things up a little bit, I think helps to revitalize the character. And the advantage is he is so flexible in that way. He can be the king, he can be the superhero, he can have magic even attached. There's precedent for all this stuff, and so I think having these kind of like aquakinesis powers, there being a mystery around that, I think it's a good start. And yeah, I'm interested to see. I'm a fan of long hair Aquaman. Not always the beard, but I'm interested to see how this character is portrayed, because you can also portray him in different ways. He can be rambunctious in the way that the Brave and the Bold Aquaman was.
I love that version of Aquaman.
I know, dude.
Yeah.
It's
That show,
so much fun.
phenomenal.
Yeah. But he could also be a little bit brooding. He could be a little bit sadder. Some of the stuff that was going on in the Cullen Bunn era, which was fine. He could be a leader in the way that a tenuous leader in the way that Jeff Johns made him. So yeah, I'm interested to see the possibilities for this character.
I don't care about Aquaman.
Well, all right. Thanks, guys.
Cool. See you next week. That's it.
But I didn't care about Aquaman when Jeff Johns wrote him, but I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic series, and that parlayed into the movie, which I also really enjoyed. So my track record with Aquaman is actually pretty high. Everything I engage with has turned out to be really good. So I'm looking forward to this as well, and I do have I have confidence in this creative team to deliver. I think this will be a strong series.
Agreed.
Now, this is probably the biggest thing we know for sure about what DC's plans are going into 2025. And that's Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee taking over Batman with issue 158. They're going to do a 6-issue run that lasts to 163. Then they're going to take a break. Then they're going to come back. I don't think we currently know. I don't know the return date, the return issue, who's going to fill in the interim. Those are not things I know. But we do know that this is Hush 2. They're returning to the scene of the crime, as it were, to tell a story featuring the character that they jointly created. Hush being one of the biggest and most successful Batman stories of all time, I don't think that that is arguable. And they're going back to it. I know there's a lot of people who aren't too excited. It's kind of divided right now. I count myself among those who are looking forward to this. You know, if they want to roll their sleeves up again for any reason, Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee, I'm seated.
I think I might be in the middle camp at this point. I'm neither. I'm lukewarm on this. It's gonna be one of those like I gotta see what happens. I gotta see what it looks like when it comes out. I gotta see what it feels like.
Man, I'm excited to see some Jim Lee art. Uh, I want to. I haven't looked at the previews because I want to just open the page and I want to see it. And so, for that reason alone, Hush was also one of like maybe the third ever Batman book I ever read. And so, there's a history of discovery and wonder attached to that series. So, yeah, I'm excited. I really want to give this a shot, and I really want to feel good about it. And the fact that this is the creative team, sold easy.
Hell yeah. Can I also just say I love the people in the chat right now who are shouting out where they're from? And you guys are from, London. We got some London boys here with us. We've got people from all over the world. Like we've got some Australian listeners. We've got Ted, who I believe is in Japan. Like we've got people all over the map, dude.
I was checking the Spotify or what was Podbean stats, and like somebody in China is binging our shit right now. Like, it's always
Hell yeah, shout
weird to
out.
see. Yeah.
Love it. Um, so yeah, that's coming. I'm hyped. What I'm not so excited about, and we don't even know if this is true, but it is rumored, is Batman and Superman getting new number ones. Now, we talked about this last week. I don't want to really linger on it, but it is something that could happen next year, so I wanted to include it. Um, I don't want this to occur. I don't think you need to do it. And I also think, unless it's coming after the Jeff Loeb, Jim Lee stuff is completely over with, like whatever the new big creative team that they have planned for in 2025 after Loeb and Lee, unless it's coming for them, it makes no sense. There's no way you have Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee come on for 158 to 163, and then after that, but before they return, go with a number one. I don't see that taking place.
Yeah, I shared thoughts on this as well. Of I don't like this. This is not teaching new readers the right lesson, in my opinion. You're not incentivizing those newcomers, or rather, you are incentivizing the newcomers who feel like it could be an easy trajectory in. But I think it's moving away from the idea of monthly comics. Uh, Poor phrasing, but the grind of it.
MP with a $20 super chat regarding this potential new Batman number one feels like a symbolic rejection of the last 5+ years, especially if Hush 2 is a soft reset. Alfred slash Wayne Manor back. I think this would be good. Mainline Batman needs to be better. His classic status quo works.
But see that for me that just means, hey, new creative team, a new starting point. I see the logic of a number one in that regard, but I don't want this to become the or go the way of Marvel, and have it, legacy numberings. Because, you know does that mean that, what is the legacy numbering? Is it the totality of it? Is it the at some point 178 because, that's where the run started, or is it the OG run? So does that make it like 1,400, whatever? Like, yeah, I feel like it complicates things. And again, the ebbs and flows of comics are arcs. They're good, they're bad, they fluctuate.
I I agree with what Get Shitty saying here, who says new number one feels weird months after a massive initiative like All In Absolute. I agree with that. I don't think that the new number one possibility is within the next 6 months. I don't even necessarily think it's within the next 8 months. But there's something that MP said that I very much agree with, in that it could feel like a rejection of, I would say, the last 10 years even, because I personally believe that Alfred being dead is not a good thing. And I do think that the status quo for Batman, the classic one, does work, and we need to get back to it. I reading Grant Morrison's Batman and Alfred being there, it felt right in a way that Batman just has not felt right since Alfred has been gone. It just does. I know other people feel differently. That's cool. Whatever. I don't agree. I think Alfred needs to return. And if they're gonna do that, and you want to do a new number one to say, hey, Alfred's back and everything else, then fine, whatever. But I don't think you need a new number one to do that necessarily. Um, and then there's the absolute of it all. Because we know about, and I've heard that maybe there were rumors of more, but we know about three new absolute books that are coming. We know about Absolute Flash. That's Jeff Lemire coming onto the Flash. I think this is probably the one that I'm like the least excited about, quite honestly. Um, but it is Jeff Lemire. How do you guys feel about this?
I'm pretty excited for this one, especially the way JSA has been going right now. I think Jeff's kind of cooking. Um, and this one, the major change from like the main line is that the Flash is not a legacy character. This is Wally is the first Flash, um, and he's young. This is our first young hero in Absolute, even younger than what Bruce is. This guy's like a teenager, really. So I'm excited for this. I think Jeff Lemire is a fantastic writer, and given the space to kind of create what this is from the get, I'm excited for.
And also, I should say Nick Robles on the art, who is tremendously talented.
Oh, hey, nice. Oh, we met him.
Yeah, we did.
Um, yeah, I'm on this for Jeff alone. The name carries weight with me. I don't have the biggest issue with Flash. The current Flash run slaps, but I think outside of that, I don't really have a history or even a hankering to go backwards. I'm always told about the Williamson run, about the stuff that Jeff Johns has done, and uh, I, nothing's calling me. So I'm going off of creators alone, Sai, and in this case, Jeff.
Man, I feel like DC regrets this iteration of DC regrets Barry's resurrection. I feel like they just don't. The editors and maybe even the creators don't prefer Barry Allen. They prefer Wally, and it feels like Barry's been sidelined again.
I wonder if it's a generational thing, like they came up with a certain Flash, and so that's the one that they have the affection for, but they know the legacy behind it is maybe maybe they're giving that precedence.
Yeah, I think Barry might be over with in the minds of DC at this point. Matt Fisher dropping another 4.99 on us. I think they give Bruce his money back by the end of Hush 2. They keep the Brownstone, but he has money. Alfred will be back in the next 2 years.
Yo, pitch me the Alfred resurrection. I'm thinking Lazarus. I'm thinking he's in the pit. He comes back all mad and shit. Ah, you would let me die. Ah.
You know what? I think that Damien should be the one to do it. And I think they should have already told that story of Damien's insane pain due to Alfred being gone. Damien is, he's a preteen now, and he's going through things, and his father's not there for him, and he needs Alfred back. He lost his grandpa, Ra's al Ghul. He doesn't have his mother anymore. All these familial figures are gone in his life, and Alfred, the man who he loves and who loved him and who he built such a bond with, is gone. Damien, in his desperation, takes Alfred to the Lazarus pit, resurrects him. He comes back crazy. It's this whole big problem. I feel like there's a story there, but we just need to get to it. They got to get Alfred back in the fold.
Chip Zdarsky,
No,
Jorge
no,
Jimenez.
no. Mm-mm,
It makes the return.
mm-mm. Absolute Green Lantern. This is This is the one that I think I'm most excited for. This is Al Ewing with Janoy Lindsay on art. All we really know is this is coming out in March of 2025. It's going to have Joe Moline as the main Lantern, of course. That is the Green Lantern who stars in Far Sector. John Stewart and Guy Gardner will also be there, as well as Hal Jordan. They're going to be like older characters. Al talked a lot about this book in our interview with him, which you can find on our YouTube channel. Um, but he's been cagey on details. Maybe we can pluck something out of him next week when he joins the show. He was supposed to be here with us this week. Scheduling conflicts just didn't allow for that. But we will be joined by him on the 14th. And we're definitely going to ask him about this. So maybe we'll get some answers.
I'm hyped for this one because I have no idea what he's cooking.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
The kitchen is
the
closed. I can't even smell anything.
the mystery of it, the floating thing, like there's just like this sci-fi esque element to it. It reminds me of um District, what was it? District 9?
Yeah.
With the prawns?
Yeah, yeah. Where, well, where it's just like something arrives, like things arrive, arrival, all the kind of things. So
Yeah.
there's this
Mm-hmm.
mass that is beyond your comprehension that shows up inexplicably and does some kind of harm or damage or just disrupts life. That is a basis. Hell, Al Ewing? Hell yeah.
Man, I love District 9.
It's a good
I did a
movie. I haven't
whole
seen it in years.
thesis on District 9 and the apartheid in college. So,
Oh,
hit my sweet spot there.
Yeah, this is gonna be real good. And then the last one we know about is Martian Manhunter. It's written by Dennis Camp with art by Javier Rodriguez. And I think my hype for this came from the way that they talked about this at New York Comic Con. What
yeah.
they showed at New York Comic Con, the way that Dennis Camp discussed it, it just sounds so inventive and different. Martian Manhunter is it's like a human guy who makes a contact with an alien that is in his mind now, and the way he sees the alien in his mind is sort of what the Martian Manhunter becomes. And the artwork that we've seen from Javier Rodriguez on this is insane. And when they showed that fucking Play-Doh presentation that the
Word.
original design was made out of play, like, come on, bro. That's inventive. Come on.
Javier Rodriguez alone is enough of a sell for me. I've picked up books on his name alone. I think you throw the writer of possibly my favorite comic of this year on there. What are you doing? Even though it's Martian Manhunter, which I'm typically not the biggest fan of, it's enough to sell me multiple tickets.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude, bro. The headiness of what this is the thing that's attracting me. This feels like a Vertigo book. It could be out there, can get a little bonkers, and um, yeah. Yo, Dennis, get on the show, bro.
I hope
What's
there's
going
a
on?
I hope there's a Play-Doh issue, whole issue
Oh,
based on it.
imagine that'd be crazy.
Oh my goodness. That would be nuts. Um Tom McCown says Al needs to fulfill that career goal and write the mainline Batman title. Okay, that's my goal, not necessarily his. You mean it's your goal to write Batman or your goal to see Al write it? Because I'm with you on both.
Could do something good. He's one of those flexible writers that could probably just make a good story.
Yeah. Chop Harder Alchemist says, who do you think should be the creative team to bring back Alfred? Oh man, I don't know. I think the very next creative team behind Batman, after Loeb and Lee, needs to be the one to do that. So, who basically you're asking me who do I want to be the next big creative team on Batman? And I don't fucking know.
Yeah,
What?
right?
Watch Hush be involved, and Hush, made someone surgically look like Alfred who died, and he's kept Alfred this whole time.
I'd hate that. I actually hate that.
And that's the thing, though. Like when you try to have to when you have to explain how Alfred comes back, this is where this falls apart for me.
Lazarus,
Lazarus, yeah.
But they always come back crazy. That's the whole point of Lazarus.
but not forever.
Honestly, he should just be back. Don't explain it. He's just back.
He just shows up fucking
Yeah, never
uh
happened.
yeah.
Yeah.
End of what was it? End of season 4 of Fresh Prince.
Wait, what do you mean?
Didn't you say that at the end of the girlfriend or whatever just like disappears, like things
At
just
the s-
reset?
at the start of the next season, they don't explain why, but they're just not together anymore, and that's that. Yeah.
That's it. Alfred's back. They don't explain why. He's just around. He's been hanging out.
Mm. Gage says went on a trip. Yeah, that's a long one.
He was at the
Yeah, I really
cafe.
don't have an answer as to who the creative team should be, but you know, it's the same names that float around in my mind. You know, Al Ewing, of course, is a big name, a staple name that I would love to see take on the role. Kelly Thompson.
Yo, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
It's weird. I feel like I'm not so enthused about that book to the point that I wanna think about who's gonna potentially be on it. I feel like I could fan cast better from other books that I'm more excited for.
Hmm. Chris Lister says in the Silver Age, Alfred seemingly died. He came back, mutate into a grotesque form as the villain outsider, and Batman had to find a way to cure him. Interesting.
Huh.
Hmm. I don't know if we're gonna go back into that well per se, but okay, that's cool. So we outline everything that we sort of know that DC has coming. You know, we didn't talk about any events because we don't know about any events, not explicitly. With what we've discussed, how do you gauge the plans that DC has laid out for us for 2025?
Excellent. They have initiatives that have heat over the course of months that attend to different um, sections of readership. You have the absolute that's going to be for people who are both coming in as new readers, but also those who have been around for a while. The compact editions for brand new, net new potential reach and potential readers, and then you have the all in stuff that's servicing the people that have been here for forever and continue to want to push that. So I think I view 2025 is going to be incredibly successful, and I'm excited to see how the absolute stuff in particular really starts to develop and feel like its own thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, for me, it's a little hard to tell right now because the way like solicits work and all that. Like, I think that the what DC's year looks the big changes we'll see towards August September. I think. Right now, I think they just need to kind of maintain what they're doing good, and that's a lot. Let these creative teams, actually sit in and cook. Hopefully, don't change too many of them. Let them actually have a year on a book
More.
if need be. I think like Two Face is like supposed to be 6 issues, but if that sells well enough, it could be a Poison Ivy book. But just let the books gestate. Like, I'm excited for a lot of these books. I'm enjoying a lot of them. And then maybe tease us about Booster Gold and stuff. I think in terms of like grand universe stuff, it'd be cool to get a little bit more info on that.
I'm excited for what DC has told us they're doing in 2025. I'll talk more about what I want, what I think they need to do in 2025 when we get to that segment. But the announced stuff sounds great, and it's exciting to be on this end of a new year and look forward to DC Comics and feel confident in their laid out plans, and not be full of dread. You want to talk about dread, that's when we get into Marvel, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But
They're gonna say night
uh,
terrors.
yeah, exactly. Chop Harder Alchemist, thank you so much for joining the channel membership and becoming a VI pal. I hope you enjoy your early access videos. We're gonna get some more of those uploaded for you guys here really soon. Um, Thank you for that. And then also Matt Fisher dropping another 4.99 on us says Will and Lisa broke up because their parents did the business. Not quite, Matt. So in the final episode of that season, they do decide that they're not going to go through with the marriage because of what a circus it all became and because Will proposed to her due to getting shot, but neither one of them were ready. They're still young and in college, but they end the season still in a relationship. When they begin the next one, that's when they reveal that they broke up, but they don't really say why or how, and you never see her again. So, and you don't even see her father and his mother together again. They just drop the whole storyline. But yeah. So while we're at it, I wanted to take a quick minute to say thank you to some of our patrons. Do not go anywhere. We are still neck deep in this main topic. I'm just going to take a quick moment to say a special shout out to our Pals vs. Legends, Thunderstruck Rebecca Alejandro, the Hound of Justice Atomic Hound, who is in the chat, Starcross Catherine Stars, who just joined us, Red Spiral, Spiral Storm, Adam and Bernie the Best Boy, the Spear of Judgment, Jay's Jumble, whose origin is coming today, a little later on. And I want to thank Pals vs. members, the Night Stalker, Harris Dajinski, Brian Demolish Del Pozo, Kefis the Incorruptible, Momentum Mike Elliott, Dan the True Trudeau, Marley Manistorm, Slow Flow Dameron, Christian Uncaged, Always Laughing, The Spear of Justice, Izzy's Issues, The Great Destroyer, Hyper Viper 89, Robert Runback Cashaback, Pete the Dream River Collins, Matthew, Malice Price, and James Just Jamming Jones. Thank you all so much. If you did not hear your name, you will hear it a little later on in the next Patreon segment. All right. So let's do the Marvel thing. Let's get into Marvel. Marvel had a little bit of a weird year. Not their best year ever. Not terrible. They put out some pretty good stuff, but not their greatest year. This is what we know they're planning for 2025. The things that we know about that seem interesting and worth talking about. We'll start where we did with DC. We'll start with the Marvel Premiere Collection. Some people are saying this is their answer to the DC Compact Editions. I think it's more likely just their answer to the problem of getting people into comics for cheap and the manga style that, has people in a chokehold. So Dan Buckley said this as far as what the Marvel Premiere Collections are supposed to be. Quote, "We've all heard the age-old questions. Where do I start? What is that one run you cannot miss? What should I read before or after the next big movie or television show to have the best experience? The Marvel Premiere Collection program is our answer to those questions. Comics are at the heart of everything we do at Marvel, so this collection will be our go-to publishing line for any and all fans looking for a way into or further into the Marvel Universe. These titles will not only be the only place to start, of course, but they will be one of the best." Okay, great. So it's not the only place to start, but it's the best place to start. Or one of the best.
I am not as hot on this as I was DC Compact. I think the extra $5, like if DC can do it, why can't you? You know, that makes no sense to me. Like your direct competitor, DC, is making it $10, but yours will be 15. And I think DC books lend themselves more to this format in terms of storyline. So, like, I think Marvel needs to kind of match them price point wise. It just seems dumb that they're not. And God, I despise the cover dressing on these things. There's zero character on them. I don't want to pick up any of these because of the way they look.
Yeah, I'll second that second point there. Yeah, the appeal of DC Comics, all of the compact, also comes in not only its formatting but the way it looks. And yeah, when these got announced, they looked a little antiquated, and I think also when I think of a Marvel book, I don't think of an isolated graphic novel. I think of a run, or I think of a sequence, or like long term series that there aren't as many entry points into that, or at the very least, to the point being made, there can be a best one, but there's a lot of ways to get into that, and so for me that makes it a little confusing too, because I don't know how they're gonna communicate some of that story, where there's a lot of elseworlds, there's a lot of other ways that you get people into the door on the DC side that is probably a little bit more agreeable. I'm curious to see the rest of I'm curious to see how this rolls out because it could very well be that people are hankering for this.
I am cool with this. I mean, they're launching with a much smaller lineup than DC did, which I think is a bit of an odd move. Um, Price point wise, I don't see a problem. I think it makes a lot of sense to launch at $15. I think 10 is just too cheap. I I think within the next 2 years, DC Compact Comics will not cost $10. And at that point, they'll be right where Marvel is. Um, and so let's talk about the three books they chose. Because I think they make sense, but it's just not a lot. So we got Captain America by oh no, it's not just three. I'm
It's
sorry.
four.
Yeah, it's four. We got Captain America by Ed Brubaker, Steve Epting, Michael Lark, and John Paul Leon. This is the Winter Soldier stuff. What's interesting is, to what Marco was saying, they don't include every single issue of even the arc. They actually skip a couple issues, and this isn't the only book they're doing that with. The Fantastic Four one is also like that. So it's not every single issue in the run. Um, all right. Go ahead, Tyler.
I don't like that. It feels incomplete to me.
Depends the curation, I guess, because I'm sure there's ways there could be not filler issues, but I'm sure there's segments that maybe play more to the overall story. It would be for me a sin if they pick like they start splitting issues up, where like oh they'll take a portion of this and then a portion of that and a portion of this.
Yeah, I think, look, I'm very, very, very much of the mindset, and I think it's pretty obvious that Marvel is too, that they don't want to give everything away for nothing. Get Shitty says, while you can do $10, do it. I mean, of course, like we would want that, right? Like we would want to spend less than more. But reality always calls. And $10 is extremely cheap. $15 is extremely cheap. And so essentially what Marvel is saying is if you want the entire story, if you want every single issue, if you're a completionist, go buy this in another format. It's telling you something very specific, and we'll see how that messaging impacts readers, but I think it makes sense. Um Black Panther, A Nation Under Our Feet, Ta-Nehisi Coates, Brian Stelfreeze, Chris Sprouse. This is probably the most uh well-known Black Panther story because of who wrote it largely. It's also very good. I think it's a really good choice. Although, I guess we've got the Black Panther show, the World of Wakanda coming out next year,
Yep.
maybe.
Yeah, it's next year.
And so that's what's incentivizing them to do this book.
Honestly, that's a great book, and I think it's a good pick. I remember when it picked up the first couple issues, I was like, "How does Coates know how to write comics immediately?" It was a bit frustrating in the best way possible.
He's credited Brian Stelfreeze with helping him a lot to sort of learn the ropes. I can't think of a better artist to have paired him with. There's a stroke of brilliance on Marvel's part, and a stroke of brilliance to put this book out. I'm really glad they're getting this out at this price point.
Yeah.
Daredevil by Born Again by Frank Miller, of course, and David Mazzucchelli. Another tremendous choice. Daredevil TV shows on the horizon. This is the book you do. I think the show is also sort of patterned after this to some degree, at least in name. They're sort of thinking about it this way. So yeah.
This is the book that I came up with first when we fantasy picked our, if Marvel were to do this, what books should they do? Born Again was the first one that came to mind.
Makes sense. Yeah, yeah. This is one of those that I feel like it are one of the few that I know of that you kind of jump in and read as a collected, a sequence of collected issues.
Mm-hmm. And then the Fantastic Four by Jonathan Hickman, Steve Epting, Dale Eaglesham, Neil Edwards. This one is highly curated because Hickman was able to go in and choose what parts to include and which not to include based on what he thought made the most narrative sense. Um, I really like the fact that they were able. Well, Hickman has his own deal; he can do this. But I'm glad that the creator, one of the creators involved, actually decided the way that this would be laid out. That tells me that it will probably make sense and feel good to read.
I like that knowing Hickman was involved. Then I have no issue with it. That makes sense to me. I would hope Brubaker would have been involved in the Cap one, um, but he seems to be kind of gone
Over
entirely.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He was in Winter Soldier the movie. He's like, all right, I'm good. Um, but yeah, this one I'm more fine with.
Director's cut.
It feels like Criterion Collection in a way, like
Yeah, yeah.
it's partnering with the creator who did it to make a good version of it to have in people's hands.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with that. Um, a lot of the other announcements and stuff that we're going to talk about as far as Marvel are concerned are based in uh they're based in like individual series because Marvel hasn't made too many announcements about what we can expect from them coming in the new year. Uh, we know about Deadpool and Wolverine by Benjamin Percy and Joshua Cassara. I included this because, believe it or not, I'm excited about this. I thought the movie was pretty darn good. Benjamin Percy can write some Wolverine very well. Hopefully, that means he also has an understanding of how the Deadpool and Wolverine dynamic can be good. I really think about what Jonathan Hickman did in the Wolverine Revenge story that's ongoing right now. I thought that Deadpool was excellent. So hopefully Percy brings some of those sensibilities. But Joshua Cassara being involved is awesome.
The cover alone, I have like the preview art we've gotten covers and stuff looks great.
Hell yeah.
And I really like Ben Percy as a writer, so this could
Yeah.
be fun. I still think it's weird Deadpool gets stopped billing. Whatever.
It's alphabetical.
Sure, yeah, sure. But yeah, no, I'm actually pretty excited for this. This just because it also like it's not like it comes out when the movie comes out. Sure, it's capitalizing on that, but it's Percy has a story to tell, and he's been telling it with Wolverine for a while.
I also don't think this is too far out of the realm of like this book could exist independent of a movie. You're
Sure,
100%
yeah.
right, but I also could see this come out had there not been a movie because these two characters have a lot of history.
Yeah, for sure. And also, you're banking on two of the biggest names.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Also exciting and worth discussing is what we know about Free Comic Book Day. Free Comic Book Day is always big for, certainly the big two at the very least. And we've got some announcements on the Marvel side of things. So, first up is Free Comic Book Day Fantastic Four X-Men #1, Ryan North, Colin Kelly, Jackson Lansing, and more. Ramos, Edgar Delgado, and more on the writing and art fronts, respectively. Now, there's some interesting stuff going on here. So the Fantastic Four bit is Ryan North, Humberto Ramos are going to tell a story that's going to involve it says the Fantastic Four respond to a most unusual interdimensional summons. Very vague, not a lot of info, nothing to really speculate about. We can move on because the other part I think is a bit more interesting. On the eve and the birth of the all new, all different X Men, there is one extra mutant in attendance. Who is it? Only Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing can tell you. What the hell does that mean?
They're the ones writing NYX right now.
Yes.
Hmm. Interesting. NYX is really good, so I'm kind of excited for whatever this is, but there's a big question mark.
There's something really specific about that. So, all new, all different X Men. That, in my mind, conjures something very specific, right? That makes me think of the Bendis era, right? So, is this in reference to that in any way? Is a new X-Men team going to be dawning that they're calling that? Or is this a look back to the past of that era and saying that something in the past is wrong that signals something in the future.
See, my mind went to all new, all different Marvel with a whole bunch of young and new mantles being taken up of to take on the reins. Like all new, all different Avengers was, you know, Sam Captain America, Miss Marvel. I was thinking like, oh, is there going to be a preeminent X-Men team that doesn't have any of our go-to X-Men in it? Laura Kinney. Like just throw in all these new names. Like that's where my mind was going with this. Marco just has crickets up in there apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The all let's see. I'm looking it up because I want to know who the all new all different X-Men were, like what era was that. So here, yeah, this was the Bendis era. This was of course when the original mutants returned. The you know the OG X-Men came to the forefront. They were brought to the future by Beast. So using that all new all different seems very specific, and I'm curious what they mean. We'll find out a little later on. Free Comic Book Day.
I will say, great Humberto Ramos, Fantastic Four on that cover.
Hell yeah. Yep. Then we also know about Free Comic Book Day Amazing Spider-Man / Ultimate Universe #1. Joe Kelly, Dennis Camp, Cody Ziegler, John Romita Jr., Jonah Sharf. It's the solicit reads Joe Kelly and John Romita Jr. remind us who Peter Parker and Spider-Man are. Okay, that's very exciting. Plus, an all-new prologue, or excuse me, an exclusive prologue to this summer's blockbuster Ultimate event from Dennis Camp, Cody Ziegler, and Jonah Sharf. Hold on a second.
Some new names.
That's two major pieces. An Ultimate event, which I don't know what that is. It's not the maker unless they're speeding up the timeline, but the maker's not imminent yet.
The maker's
Well,
on
it
the
says-
cover.
He is.
I know, but I'm saying if the timeline is where are we at? We've got 13
Like a-
months to go.
Something like that. Yeah, like 11, 13.
11 months was what the last issue of Ultimate said.
Okay, yeah, because I've got this one doesn't say. Yeah,
Well,
okay,
it
so
was-
11 months.
Yeah.
So we're a year out. So that kind of gives me the vibe that the event will lead into the maker's arrival if they stick to the monthly timeline.
Uh, but not for Ultimates, an Ultimate event. And so I wonder how does that mean that ties in all of the other books as well? Does that mean Ultimate X-Men somehow? These little girls in Japan are suddenly being, teleported over?
I mean,
That to me is not the is a little bit of a I'm hesitant. I'm hesitant about that because it feels too early, man.
I mean, the cover has the maker, squeezing two Earths together, looking like my doctor when I'm getting my physical. But that kind of brings me back to like Secret Wars in a what are they called? Not a crisis. What's Marvel's version of that?
Nexus event?
No, when the two Earths are about to fight each
Oh,
other.
incursion.
An incursion, yeah. That's what it kind of brings to mind, honestly.
A forced incursion. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Maybe he already realizes that it's out of his control when he gets back, and he tries to break it again.
But again, if he gets back before this event, then that means that they're breaking the month
Timeline.
Yeah, they're breaking that down.
Then what was the point of that storytelling device?
There
Well-
is no point.
Well, what better way to surprise our heroes than to break what they thought was their countdown?
I guess, but then also you're breaking that breaks immersion for us.
Yeah. They establish something. If they break that, to me, that's trash.
For me, that would be like, oh, so we could have lingered with a lot of the issues that happened in Ultimate Spider-Man, huh? Great, cool.
I will say, I don't like how they keep pairing Amazing Spider-Man and Ultimate Comics for the new comic book day. They have nothing related to each other.
Ultimate Spider-Man, I don't know, is the thing you think
Yeah,
about.
like just throw Ultimate Spider-Man in there. It's still Spider-Man. Like, I don't know. It's
Man, they
frustrating.
really, Maker's really holding Spider-Man by the globes there, huh?
Right? It's Gleason knew what he was doing. Come on.
Cody Ziegler's involvement in this is very interesting because it tells me one of two things. Either Cody Ziegler is getting an Ultimate series to write, or Miles Morales is in this.
What? That. I
I
don't know
hope
how I
it.
feel about that.
I hope it's the former rather than the latter.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But then what? But then when do you like picking up for a current writer or um
Give him another
a new
book.
title?
Yeah, give him a new title.
It's one of those two. It has to be because why else would he be involved in this? He has nothing to do with any of this.
Ultimate Namor.
Although, if it are two worlds colliding, this could explain a Miles involvement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mm. Too soon.
Yeah, yeah. Too soon.
Should be interesting. We also know that we are getting Ultimate Wolverine. Speaking of the Ultimate books, Chris Condon and Alessandro Capuccio is the creative team. This feels like an Ultimate. Feels like what if Wolverine was the Winter Soldier in the Ultimate Universe? He's very much got a Winter Soldier look. It appears that he's some kind of mind controlled assassin, which is literally par for the course with Wolverine. And I really like that because that's not a Wolverine that you, other than Enemy of the State, the Mark Miller book, there's not really a time you get to see Wolverine that way. So it's super cool that we're getting that as the sort of status quo for Wolverine to begin with in the Ultimate Universe. We'll see how long they allow it to be that way. I'm hyped for this.
I'm also hyped for it being a story where we can learn more about the history of this Ultimate Universe through Wolverine. If he's around during a lot of those parts where when Cap and Ultimates had that he was kind of microdosing history. Um, I would like to see all the different things that explain a lot of what this world is.
Yeah.
Yeah, more world building, more context. But hopefully that pays off. Like, I would want it also to be relevant.
Now, excuse me.
Bless you. Oh, oh,
Okay.
oh, there it is.
Um sorry about that. My allergies are kicking my ass.
How dare you have
Um
allergies? That's my bit, Sean.
yeah, I know, sorry. So, One World Under Doom is coming from Ryan North. And you know that they care because they gave Ryan North a heavy gun. And that heavy gun is RB Silva. RB Silva is going to be the artist behind this book. I think that's a great pairing. Um Doom runs shit now in Marvel. And we're going to see that play out. We're going to see his rise. We're going to see, what he's up to. We're already seeing a little teeny bit of it in Eight Deaths of Spider-Man, but it's more of a Spider-Man story with Doom being the catalyst for it. This is Doom properly taking over.
Pledge
I
allegiance.
I like this because it tells me Marvel's listening. Because everyone and their grandma have been talking about how good Ryan North's Fantastic Four run is,
Hmm.
and they're giving him the keys right in time for a Fantastic Four movie to come out too. So I think this is a lot of great things aligning at the right time, and I'm really excited for this. And I like how North seems to be kind of taking bits and pieces from other stuff he wrote at Marvel and kind of bringing it front and center. Like there's like Squirrel Girl side characters that have been in some of the preview art. I'm like, okay, sure, why not? I really like Ryan North as a writer, so I am pretty. I think I'm excited for an event or an age of Marvel.
And I think that to me is going to be the draw here is because we have Ryan North with uh, already there's fervor around him. This brings excitement to an event. So having that name, even though I haven't read the Fantastic Four stuff, I know that it's good. I know that it's being lauded as a great run, and so bringing him onto an event means that actually I'm going to tune into this event because I'm curious to experience that writing, and it's going to be something that ideally corresponds to the larger Marvel universe.
Yeah, one of the things that Tyler had expressed concern about in an earlier episode was whether they would let Ryan North stay with the Fantastic Four, given that they're about to have a huge spotlight on them because of the movie. And to this point, it seems like they intend on doing that. They intend on letting Ryan North stay. And I think that's a brilliant stroke because the Fantastic Four, like, name me when they've worked other than Hickman in the last decade plus. And obviously they were off the stands for some time. So to be fair, but they've had a problem with putting out great Fantastic Four books. They finally found someone who can do that on a consistent basis. Let him cook. It seems like they're going to allow it. So for the foreseeable future, hopefully throughout all of 2025, Ryan North will be the guy. That's a great thing. And then finally, I noticed in the solicits that they are going to be putting out quite a bit of Fantastic Four legacy stuff to get us ready for the film. So they're reprinting Fantastic Four Volume 1 Omnibus, Volume 6 Omnibus, and the Silver Surfer Omnibus. So I feel like this is what you need to know. It's like a starter kit for this movie. If you're really hyped for the movie and you get these omnibi, you will know sort of what they're playing off of going into the movie. Is the Silver Surfer the same Silver Surfer? No. But you will know the general concept of the Silver Surfer based on this stuff. Is it the same Galactus? Not quite. But you will see the first Galactus story. You will see all that stuff. I think this is really smart.
And it's weird because I think Fantastic Four is one of those properties and character sets that I would recommend checking out the Lee and Kirby stuff. Because I think
It's
based
still
on
good.
what we've seen uh, from the press around the Fantastic Four movie is that it's taking a lot from that tonally, and I think tonally and it's just good comics at that point too. So I think getting that reprinted is really smart.
Feels like this is an example of what Dan Buckley talked about when he talked about synergy, more synergy between the marketing departments of the film and comic side of things, because this is one of those places where synergy is not a problem to me. I think it's a huge boon. These need to be in print, and you should be getting them out in stores alongside people's excitement and fervor, because why not?
Do you think in terms of synergy, do they reprint these with the same logo that the movie has for Fantastic Four?
Mm,
Too
probably
much.
not.
I'm a stickler, and I think the core comics audience wouldn't want that, so I don't think that they will do
Fair,
that.
fair. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not enough synergy. I don't like it's trade dressing.
Yeah. Michael Nadeau says, "Nice. I was looking to go on a Fantastic Four comic dive. There you go. That right there. That's awesome."
That's great.
Um, Uncanny Suit says the real early Lee Kirby stuff is a little aged, but they really hit a great groove around 20 issues, and that still holds up well. I haven't read a ton of early Fantastic Four, but I've read a bit, and I like it. I think it's good. I think it's good stuff. Tilo says the Dan Slott run was great. Was it? I
Ye-
don't remember feeling that way.
I remember the first volume of FF, with Spider-Man on the team in the white suit. Yo, that was fire. Getting to
Hell
see
yeah.
the Council of Reeds for the first time. It threw me off, but Hickman's such a good writer that I stuck around because I'm like, okay, a lot just got thrown at me, but I'm invested because he makes you care about those things.
Sure. And then Steve Matthews said Miller and Hitch's run on Fantastic Four was good. When was that? So that was in the mid 2000s.
Mark
Because I
Millar,
remember. Sorry?
Mark Millar.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
hmm yeah, that was good, but I didn't really read too much of that. I didn't read too much of that. So that is everything that we have laid out for Marvel. Um I would say that I'm probably like less enthused about Marvel's plans than DC's. I feel like this isn't
Yeah.
much.
I want more and a more of an idea of what the main universe is doing. It seems to kind of be treading water right now, and I think One World
Hmm.
Under Doom is our clearest direction to look into, but I still don't think it's enough because it still seems a little segmented. Yeah, there are some spin-off books like Doom Academy and Thunderbolts coming out of that, but I would like to know more of a status quo for things are. I think the Ultimate stuff is really interesting, and I'm excited for that. But I do want more mainline universe stuff.
As we went through this, I didn't realize how many things are actually going on that I am excited for. For me, the event first and foremost, Ryan North getting experience some of that writing is the thing that's grounding me. And a lot of just the implications for the Ultimate Universe. The free comic book day thing was interesting, maybe a little nerving, but um, there are things here that I am looking forward to, but I'm not as blown away by all of it as I was the DC things.
Yeah, as I look through the list of stuff I have written down, I mean, I'm excited for the free comic book day stuff. I love the way that they don't tell you anything because it's like a brain teaser. I really like that. So I'm into that. I'm into the premiere collection stuff. Although I'm not gonna buy any of them probably, except the maybe the well, no, I'll buy Cap and I'll buy Fantastic Four. So I'm into that.
Hmm.
I'm into the stuff, but I'm not that excited about it. I guess for me, it's the event and the progression of the Ultimate Universe that I'm the most excited about, and I would just like to be excited about more things from Marvel. I really
Well,
would.
those are the things that have. Those are the only things that have forward momentum at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And to the solicit point, Sean, again, Joe Kelly and John Romita Jr. remind us who Peter Parker and Spider-Man are. Brain teasers.
Have you forgotten yet?
Who?
Get Shitty says, whereas DC felt focused, the Marvel feels sparse. Yeah, and again, I'm the one curating it. I'm picking out things that I'm excited about or that I think are the biggest. But, if there were bigger things to talk about, they would have been on this list, right? So unfortunately, that's kind of where things stand. I also wanted to quickly just talk about before we get into like what we think they need to do. I also wanted to briefly touch on the movies because there is a film slate coming and there are some big time movies that both the big two are putting out. Um, Captain America: Brave New World, that's coming out. We're getting that. We've all seen the trailers, I would imagine. We don't need to like go over it too much. It's Sam Wilson versus the Red Hulk and some you know secret organization. We know Giancarlo Esposito is playing the guy who leads the Serpent Society or whatever the fuck. I remember him being so excited to announce that on the stage of San Diego Comic Con, and it was like, all right, dude.
Word.
All right, we're not doing Sidewinder hate here, okay? And let's be
Who
real.
is it?
Sidewinder is not the actual leader of like the Serpent Society. Cobra is. So, ooh, big bad in the lurking in the background. Actually, there is. It's the leader.
Yo, my dude was hyped for that reveal, and that shit, that release, I'm like, oh, it's a guy in a gun. Okay,
Right.
sweet, nice trench coat. All right, whatever. I'm excited for at least just again that momentum. Let's see as we enter this new phase of the MCU. What do we got? Damn, Harrison Ford's old.
Bro, I'm hyped as hell for this movie. I don't give a shit. I can't wait. The Red Hulk on screen is something I've been waiting to see for a long time. So this is hype. And at first, I was like, wait, Red Hulk versus Sam Wilson Cap? That's a little bizarre. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, hell yeah, it's bizarre. Let's see it. Plus, it has the leader who I absolutely love. The leader is one of my favorite Marvel villains. It's got It's got Patriot also. Patriot's going to be in it. He's
Hell
going to
yeah.
sort of be like the Winter Soldier character in this film. This has all the makings of a great movie if only they can nail it. I think the premise is all good, but it comes down to what they put on screen. Is it going to work on screen? I'm hopeful that it does.
I'll see this when it comes out, but I don't know. I don't have a hype scale for this one. The trailers where it's shown, like at the Washington Garden, with the the rose, not rose petals, but it's like the whatever tree they have there.
Cherry blossoms.
Cherry blossom. There we go. Thanks, Marco. Looks like the most overly CG done thing ever. It looked like a video game cutscene, so I'm not too excited for it. If that's your climactic battle, um, it's fine. One thing I did note, looking at movie posters for this, for the slides, and for Thunderbolts coming up, is that I guess graphic designers at Marvel love Arial Black now, and just changing the color of it because there's like no design on these posters anymore, and it's frustrating.
Ishmael, the question you're asking about Marvel Rivals, ask it again when we're out of this subject because we just don't. We got to talk about other stuff. But I don't want to leave you hanging. I know you've asked like 3 times, but it's just not the right time for us to talk about that. We also have Thunderbolts coming. Thunderbolts has put out a couple trailers now. I think they've been generally well received. It looks really good, I think. They've kept the Sentry under wraps, but we know he's in it. That's exciting to me. I have high hopes for this, even though, well, I shouldn't say I have high hopes. I do think it will be good, but I'm not that excited because the other movies feature characters who I care about more. But if I had to tell you, do I think like objectively, not even objectively, what do I think will be better received? I think Thunderbolts will be better received than Captain America, but I'm more excited for Cap than this.
I think it's more of an underdog as opposed to Cap. There's more potential for people to probably come to it and be like, oh hey, that was a pretty good movie. But similarly, I'm not familiar with the team. Who are the big players, and so yeah, I'll go see it.
It's just all these questions, and you're like, yeah, I'll go see it. I think I'm the most excited for this. I
Yeah.
thought the trailer looked like it had direction and had choices in the shots. It had actual outdoor lighting in some of it, and I was like, oh, the color grading on this feels different. Is there cinematography in a movie? So I was excited for that, and I love Florence Pugh. So that's the simp in me. Will watch whatever she's into. So
Atomic Hound with a 49.99 drop. What a bomb. You guys have been amazing today. Thank you so much. Hound says Fantastic Four 40 through 52 and 3 annual 3 first
Yeah.
Inhumans, first Silver Surfer, first Galactus, first Black Panther, Reed and Sue Wedding, and This Man, This Monster. I've yet to find anything that tops it in terms of a single title, single year, but I'm open to suggestions. Now, Hound, if I want to read that, what omnibus is that? Like what should I seek out in order to read that run of stories? Because I would love to.
Marvel app.
Uncanny
that's the
says
correct answer.
second Fantastic Four omnibus is a must buy. So that seems like the answer. Second Fantastic Four omnibus. Well, that sounds like the perfect stocking stuffer. And I might have to stuff my stocking with one of those this Christmas.
How big are your stockings so you could fit an omnibus on it?
Pretty big, dude.
What are you anchoring it on the mantle with? Like that seems the weight differential. Huh.
Nail straight into the wood.
Hell yeah. Cole says, I want to be reinvested back in the MCU, but nothing really grabs me anymore. Well, damn. Damn, Cole. Maybe Fantastic Four First Steps is the movie that will grab you. Because this movie has all the heat in the world. I think this is so exciting. I was just like I'm talking to my friends on the phone and I'm pitching them my ideas for this movie like I fucking work for Marvel. I do that enough on this podcast. It's the last thing I need to do outside of here. But I'm so excited for what's in store with the FF. And I'm desperate for a good movie with them. I've always felt like there's something special about these characters that the world doesn't seem to get yet, but they can if we just get that right adaptation. And I think this might be it.
Yo, that film is gonna be hot fire.
All right, you got to message me on the Discord next time, Marco. So I'm ready for the sound effect. But
What's up?
never mind. Also, you had the opportunity for a flame on joke there, and you lost it. So
Oh, that's good. Damn. I thought it was gonna be like, it was gonna be bomb. It was gonna be like
well, you know, can't all be winners.
hot fire. Hot fire. I'm excited for that movie.
I don't. I'm excited for it. I still am a little confused why it has to be outside of like a different universe sort of thing. Like, all right, we'll see what they do there. And some of like, have you been looking at like any of the set leaks at all for this?
I saw it. There was like an underground one or something.
Spelunkers found a set.
Yeah.
Which is like
sea
what?
divers or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like they accidentally stumbled upon a set for this, and I was like, that's. I mean, that points to a very specific thing that I think is interesting and exciting. And
The Mole Man?
Yeah, and that iconic first
Yeah.
cover. They're gonna recreate that shit. And I am excited for that. That's literally do Incredibles. The movie's already been done. Like do Incredibles, except Fantastic Four, and you have it. That's the movie.
Chop Harder Alchemist says, I am extremely excited for the Fantastic Four movie. They're my favorite comics family, hands down. Me too. The Thing is probably my favorite character in all of comics, hoping they can bring the magic. Dude, I'm right there with you, brother. This, to me, of all the movies that they've put out so far, the two that I was the most excited about in terms of like, this is a dream come true, is the Avengers and this. And then it'll be X-Men when we get that. But boy, oh boy, the Fantastic Four is so special to me. And this is the one they have to get right. They have to get this right. And I think they will.
The sci-fi nature of the trailer, the almost
There's been no trailer.
we're talking
Well,
about
not one
the
that the public has seen.
Yeah, you're looking at handycam footage from conventions.
the first steps trailer.
There's no trailer.
I'm pretty sure there hasn't been an officially released trailer.
Is that not the teaser trailer thing?
There's been none.
Really?
There's been fan recorded footage from conventions and stuff that has been watchable.
There's a thing on like Screen Culture or something. Is that
Don't believe.
totally different?
Don't Google anything trailer. You will
Marco, what we are saying is a trailer technically exists. It has not been released to the public. Did you see the handycam footage from Comic-Con, or are you thinking you saw something officially released?
I thought I saw something officially released.
Okay, well, as far as I know, that an official release doesn't exist.
You saw it on Facebook.
Nah, it was on YouTube. It was damn. I gotta
So
find.
it's got to be real.
Hold on, I gotta find this shit because I swear it was
We're gonna do a YouTube literary course for Marco right now.
Yo, dude, there's a guy in my life who sends me messages like, "Is this a real trailer?" Because he cannot discern what a real trailer is from a non-real one.
Wow. Okay, I just found it. It is the Watch Our Official Trailer Screen Culture concept for the upcoming Marvel movie.
Oh,
The
Marco
Fantastic
learns
Four.
to read. Episode 420, whatever.
Yo,
And-
my brother. How long have you been on the internet?
Yo.
you. First of all, you didn't even read the title. You didn't even
No.
bother to see that it says concept.
No,
the
no,
second
Title
what?
says Fantastic Four First Steps trailer.
You
it's
just
miss-
told.
Yeah, to get you to
No,
click it.
If you click it, then like
got.
the description of it.
Oh,
Yeah,
so you mean
got.
when you read, you learn.
When you read the thing, I clicked the trailer. I was like, oh shit, and it was weird because I'm like, damn, they're like leaning into this AI shit. Art looks weird.
Yo, you watched the AI Marvel movie trailer and thought it was real.
For a hot second, I was like, what the fuck?
Hot second, you came to this podcast thinking it was real.
I did.
one thing I've learned about Marco, even though he's the youngest of us, he's the least online out of all of us, I think.
I trusted it. I trusted it.
Yo,
Here's the
They
thing, though,
lied to me.
Sean. If Marco's getting got, think about the general populace.
Bro, it has
The
3 million
our
views.
our internet, it does not matter. It is not reality. Like this is reality for most people.
reality is AI bullshit trailers. Dude, how many people got by the Home Alone trailer though? With the adult Macaulay Culkin version movie, Home Alone 3?
Sure, yeah.
It's
Wait, what?
crazy. Like what the fuck?
That wasn't real?
No, what it
No!
was he was really in it, but
God, bro.
yeah,
That
we're
one at least
cooked.
says
We're cooked
parody
as
in
a
it.
we're cooked as a human race going forward.
Hendrik Perry says Marco is the guy who falls for the scams meant for the grandparents. Let me tell you something about that. Now, our email address, thecomicspals@gmail.com, used to be a beautiful place. The only thing we would get was the occasional YouTube comment from one of you guys that would pop in or someone reaching out to us on our website or some shit like that. At some point, we started to get inundated with insane spam like, you know, free sex locally, click this email, like, credit card scams, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, man, how did we get this? I know somebody clicked on some dumb shit. And I bet I would put, do I have any money? I would put this dollar on Marco being the guy who saw an email that said, oh, hey, how about a sponsorship? Clicked on it and put us on a massive spam email list.
Actually, I can tell you why. Thecomicspals@gmail.com is on our website, which means it is on search engines, which means it's publicly available, which means spam will get onto it. That is a thing we should not have done.
It got scraped.
Yeah, it gets scraped. Never. Well, I wasn't there at the infancy of this, so we got the contact form. We should have left it at that.
Yeah.
I still blame Marco.
Marco,
I
did you
didn't
make the
click anything.
website?
I didn't say no suspicious websites.
Who made the website?
Nothing.
Who made the comicspals.com?
I did make the website.
Okay, yeah, you can blame Marco.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy shit. It's almost like I'm a fucking prophet. I know that it's Marco who's the perpetrator. I just know. Somehow, some way.
Marco, have you called any numbers recently and gotten on Microsoft support and had to buy gift cards?
Like last week for Thanksgiving.
Dude, I got a call the other day from an AI fucking voice that said, hello, hello.
Oh,
And
no.
I said hello. And then it said, can you hear me? And I hung up the phone because I
No
know that they're
way.
trying to get me to say the word yes so that they can use my voice to access my accounts and things of that nature. So kids, make sure if you get a phone call that sounds fucking weird, never say yes, never say your name, just hang up the phone.
Marco saw an ad for hot local MILFs in your area, and he thought, whoa, really?
For
In
me, free?
in my area?
If I click this link, they'll have sex with me? Click.
Click.
Come on now. All right. Sorry for the dunk on Marco detour that we just went on.
It was so believable.
Oh my God. Well, in 2025, Marco, you might believe a man can fly because Superman is coming back to the big screen for the first time in, as far as a solo movie is concerned, over a decade. This is James Gunn's first live action DC film under the new regime, which he is the master of the new regime, along with Peter Safran. Out of all these movies, well, I'm most excited for Fantastic Four, but I think Superman has the most weighing on it in terms of needing to be a success. I don't know where I stand as far as how good I think it's going to be. I don't know.
James Gunn's track record with me has been almost perfect recently. Actually, no, for a while. Going back to like Scooby Doo, like I've liked Super, I've liked Scooby Doo's, I've liked Guardians. His Peacemaker is great. Guardians 2 is the only one where it's like that one felt a little clunky, but all in all, it works for me. Does it work for Superman? That I think is the question mark. I think his style is different. It's a little more
Irreverent.
irreverent, dirty. That I'm not sure it fits Superman, but based on the way he's talked about the character and based on everything that I've seen about him, I think he's going to nail it. Because I think you need to understand that to be able to then make the irreverent versions of it to play on that. Out of all of the movies, this is what I'm most excited for. And plus, we got Crypto, and he's a scraggy little terrier dog. I'm in.
I won't
think-
comment
go
on
ahead.
this. The trailer came out 3 weeks ago, so I won't comment on this one.
He's got that hard drive. Marco found the hard drive. Forget Hunter Biden's. Marco has James Gunn's.
Yeah, James Gunn. Oh boy, James Gunn. I think James Gunn is obviously very talented, and my opinion of his work really is subjective. Super subjective. His work doesn't line up for me. It just doesn't. It feels like it tries too hard in every way. It tries too hard to pull on your heartstrings. It tries too hard to be different. It tries too hard to be edgy at times. I just watched the Creature Commando stuff and I'm like, oh my God. Like there's good stuff in it, but I can't handle the music. I can't handle the goofy shit. And I don't like my prevailing thought after that second episode was like, oof, if this better not be the direction of Superman. He has to be able to separate his weirder sensibilities from Superman because I don't think they work. You can't make Guardians, you can't make Suicide Squad, you can't take that and apply that to Superman. It doesn't work. But I still think James Gunn is talented enough to know that.
And I think there are characters that are going to be in this movie that do play on his strengths too. Like Jimmy Olsen gets to joke around. And that's
Sure.
what makes Jimmy Olsen like likable compared to Superman. Guy Gardner's in this, which it's Nathan Fillion. That's going to be you're going to at least get a couple quote worthy bits from that.
Yeah.
And all like the other characters it's introducing too is exciting because these are characters that've never been on screen before. Mr. Terrific,
That is a good
Hawk
point.
Girl. Yeah, I'm very excited for this.
I think there's a balance there of leaning into the bits and making it heartwarming or heartfelt. Like I think you can. I think playing with a Nathan Fillion, Guy Gardner can be good for laughs, but give me an emotional beat alongside that. The interactions there that have to be just a good balance on it.
Near says Superman got the Hispanic household dog, which is hilarious. But what's also hilarious is that in parentheses he put "I'm Hispanic,"
Covering
just so
himself,
we all know.
Just to qualify, yeah,
Yeah.
just to qualify it.
Crypto's got that weird shit around his eyes.
Well, everybody on this podcast is also Hispanic, so collectively we laugh because we know what you mean.
The little fucking little chihuahua, little rat.
I think he's got
Oh.
glaucoma already. Like you don't know when it should have died 5 years ago.
Oh my goodness. James Gunn.
He's here. He's off Threads and off Blue Sky. He's here.
He said everything there is to say on those platforms. He needed a new place to talk, so he came to our comment section. No, James says, I think it will be hard to top the Superman and Lois show on CW. They really got the character right. Look, James, I heard the finale was phenomenal, and I've heard great things about the show. It triggers me for someone to say that anything can't top a CW show because I don't think I've seen a single thing on the CW that is emulatable or that I think should be emulated. Now, granted, I haven't seen the show you're talking about, but man,
All I've seen about this Lois and Clark, Superman and Lois finale is a gif of Doomsday gently offering his hand out and being pushed into the sun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
To me, when I have an opinion, you know.
Oh my goodness.
There are rumors we're getting a trailer for this within the next couple weeks before the end of the year, and what I'm really excited for or curious about is what they do for the score of this movie. If they bring in the Williams score in any way, even as like an homage or kind of a part of this,
Hmm.
that'll be interesting. I think we need to get away from the Hans Zimmer bombs of
Yeah.
Snyder's universe, and it needs to have like a really upbeat and inspiring score. I think that's going to be really important for this.
That's a good shout. Yeah, like the auditory nature of that, the callbacks. You wanna. It sets a it also sets like a tone, right? And so yeah, I think that's a great call.
by the way, I want to shout out the people joining the Discord server. Thank you. We've had a couple people join us just this morning. It's always nice to see you guys come hang out with us. Um, Steve Matthews says, we need to give Gunn the benefit of the doubt that he's not a one note director. Spielberg made Jaws and Schindler's List. I'm confident Gunn has got this. Excited for his Superman. I think that's valid, but of the movies that I have personally seen of James Gunn, and I know he's made more than just the superhero stuff, but the ones that I have seen have all been one note. And that bugs me.
You ever see Slither?
No, I've only seen the Marvel and DC stuff.
Oh, Slither's a gross movie, but it kind of hits the same tone. So you're not wrong in that sense. But check that one out. It's disgusting, vile.
Slither.
Yeah. Looks like we hit the 60 likes goal already, but I feel like we can do more. I don't think that's enough. So let's bump that up. Can we do 80? We got 80 people with us here. Can we do 80 likes for the goal?
Shifting those goalposts.
Yes, like a politician.
Huh?
I was gonna say like
Move.
sports, but okay, yeah,
Wait, like who?
like sports. Like
Oh, uh Ismail says, my opinion, Superman theme song from the Christopher Reeves movie should always be the Superman theme song everywhere Superman goes.
Sure. Yeah.
I disagree just because I think that's hamstringing the musicians. I would hate to be a musician and come on and be hired for a project and be told, "Look, you have to make this theme that someone else made, 40, 50, 60 years ago. You have to use this." No, what if I want to incorporate it, I'll incorporate it, but I don't think there should be a mandate.
I think there's something to be said though about incorporate. The good thing about music is you can incorporate these things without people recognizing it, but subconsciously it gets recognized. Like I was watching a video about the composer of Wicked. He took the opening notes of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and that is in Defying Gravity, even though you cannot hear it as a whole, but it is in there in the DNA. And I think there's something to be said about like the benefit of music in that. And I think John Williams' score is so important to Superman in film. Again, not a mandate, but it would help set the tone for what this is.
I think it's fun. Like you play on variations of other people, give callbacks, nods. Like I think there's a lot that you can do with with someone else's music. You can reorchestrate and the entirety of the score. I don't think has to exist as much as a theme might have to. The same way that they've used Tatooine's theme, Darth Vader's theme, but but the movies can get rescored for the rest of things.
But when we talk about Star Wars, everybody always says Star Wars is obsessed with its past. I sort of feel like we play fast and loose with where we think we need to move forward and be progressive and where we need to be stuck in the past. Ultimately, whoever they got to do the score, I if they decide that they want to include it, then great. But I think we need to let go. Part of the problem with Superman on screen is we can't stop thinking about 78. And I think we need to. It's 2024. Like 78 was a long ass time ago. Um, you know, come on.
The composer is John Murphy, who
John Murphy.
did
Okay, John.
The Suicide Squad, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and X-Men Days of Future Past. They're some of his
Oh,
big hits.
Okay. All
Nothing
right.
where the score really jumped out to me, I will say, but
All right. Eric Rodriguez says, found this channel on Friday and have been catching up, watching on a lot of the old episodes. Came for All In and Absolute, but love your weekly reviews. It's helping me to try to expand my comics journey. Eric, thank you so much for saying that. Really appreciate you um, digging into our backlog, but also coming in and catching us live. That's awesome. You say your comics journey. Are you like new in your journey? Are you just starting off? Where are you at? Because wherever you are, it's great. But I love the fact that we've got new people coming in who keep saying, "Hey, I'm in the beginning of my journey. I'm trying to figure out what comics to read, and we found you guys. So that's really cool. Thank you, and welcome to the show." Okay, let's move things forward. We're all excited to varying degrees about Superman. Very valid. Before we close out this portion of the show, I do want to talk about what the big two got to do, what they need to do in 2025. So we can run through this relatively quickly. These are the things that we feel like they need to do in order to make things better for them, based on our perspective. So the first one for me from Marvel is, and Tyler referenced this earlier, I completely agree. Use One World Under Doom to make the universe feel more connected, build towards future stories and events through this.
and I'm with you. Marvel needs to look back at the era of Bendis, which maybe not do exactly that, but the idea of like we can talk about that era of comics within phases and arcs, and I think that helps just like as like an archaeological thing to be able to talk about comics in the past tense, but it also helped identify what those eras were and tonally, and it really helped the other books like across the line kind of have something where they can reference whatever they want, but at least you can tell where it existed in the era of Marvel. I think that is something they should get back to.
Yeah.
I think just yeah, the that interconnectedness because right now the camps feel different. Avengers feels like it's over here. X-Men feels like it's down there. Where the rest of these ancillary characters, Fantastic Four is living in its own world. So, um, if I've always thought of Marvel as the universe that has been and has had more of that cohesiveness. Oh, at the same time that Spider-Man's stopping, a crime over here, across the street, maybe Daredevil's doing something, but they feel like independent books. So
Chat, let us know, by the way, what are the things you think Marvel needs to do in 2025? What are the things that you want to see from them? I also included go deeper with the X-Men books. Too many of them feel surface level right now. They're just not going deep enough. Partially that's because of course, they're just getting their bearings. I think the furthest progressed X book is on like what, issue 8 or 7 with X-Men proper. So that's not that far along, but it just doesn't feel like they're far enough for me to feel invested overall in what's happening, and I would like to see them do more.
yeah, I think to that point, cull the line a bit. There's a lot of ancillary titles that I think are Mystique. I haven't read the second issue of Sentinels, but I know the first issue was pretty good. But still, like I think giving people and funneling people towards these more central books around some of the characters that we care about. Exceptional X-Men's been great, but I want to see more of a focused line. I think that helps to promote good storytelling.
Well, I mean, to call back to my first point, I think X Men has always had a status quo that the line shifted on since I've read X Men. Really, there really is no status quo. Like From the Ashes seems more like a reaction rather than a status quo.
Hmm.
And I think the X Men line could benefit from something more concrete.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. Um Find talent, particularly writers, because I think Marvel's artists, their artist lineup is tremendous. Find writers to shore up the stable. They've lost a lot of people, whether that person was exclusive and no longer is, or they just don't work for Marvel anymore at all. They've lost a lot of creators, and I think it would be nice to see them investing more into bringing on big names. They got Greg Capullo. That was a huge get for 2024, but it would be nice if they could get Donnie Cates back in the mix. That might be up to his health. I don't know. But it'd be nice to see them bring Donnie Cates back in the mix. But can they lure with enough money some major names to come and tell some stories over there? Can Kelly Thompson, is she, I don't think she's DC exclusive. Can she come and do some Marvel work again? Like, where are these people at?
It feels like they're trying to build up a stable, but the output so far has not been overly stellar. Like there's only a few creators that I'll go to on the Marvel end, whereas you give me there's a litany of those at DC.
Even the Marvel end, though, I think it's so sporadic where the good hits are. Like PKJ's there. Like we sometimes forget about that. You know, he's doing amazing work on Incredible Hulk. Al Ewing is still there, doing Venom. It's just like they're because I think a shift with the status quo would help that as well. You know, these books kind of exist outside of everything, in their own little corners, and I think that kills buzz sometimes when they're not interconnected. It's hard to recommend something to somebody if you can't say, well, oh, well, this is happening in this book, which tied into the thing you read, you know? So I think that would help put a spotlight on some of these, actually good creators on these books that are doing really well.
I'll be honest. I will always enjoy a book more that is highly integral to the current like overall narrative than a book that's sort of sequestered unto itself that has no impact on the larger storytelling. I just really deeply love the interconnected stories. And so I'm not really getting that, and that sucks. Um Go ahead, Tyler.
I wanted to throw one out for Marvel too.
Yeah.
And it's one I pretty much will say every time Marvel needs to talk about with it too. Have some cosmic books, have some space books. The fact that there's no Guardians of the Galaxy book right now is dumb. Like it's a huge property that like even if it was a Rocket and Groot book, why doesn't that exist? It almost seems like, oh, we don't want to have a Guardians book the same time James Gunn's DC universe starts, which maybe that's conspiracy theory, but yeah, I don't know why there isn't, Inhumans book. Like Phoenix is really the only
I was
space book we have right now, which is only a space book now, you know? So I think there's benefits there. And maybe they will build that back up when Nova eventually makes an MCU appearance. But that's just a personal want for me.
Yeah, I think more Marvel Cosmic would be wise. I'm not sure what the reasoning is why they've sort of shelved all that. Maybe they simply don't have anyone who's terribly interested in telling stories in that space, but space is the place, and I think they would do well to do a little bit more in that region. But that was all I had. Did you guys have any more Marvel must dos?
uh, d- hmm, I want to see how things connect from the Miss Marvel side. She's a mutant now. She's a mutant in the show. Where's that synergy going? I'm interested to see how that plays out. Like what is the expectation moving forward, and um, is that going to lead to more?
That ties into my actual other Marvel thing was where are the young heroes?
Oh yeah,
Right now it's just NYX. Marvel does not have her own book. Kate Bishop does not have a book. The Young Avengers do not have a book. They're all kind of elsewhere. And I know the MCU is building up to something. You know, this is you need to lay that groundwork now so those books exist for when you pull the trigger in the MCU.
New Champions is coming. That book is on the horizon. We didn't talk about it in the what's coming in 2025 because I'm not interested in it, but it is coming. But I don't know exactly what the roster looks like. I don't know how many of all those characters it's going to include, but that seems to be where they're placing their marbles as far as the young heroes in 25.
But no, none of those characters are actually in the movies. Like these are all new creations that spun off of a successful variant campaign. This that almost feels separate to what I'm asking in a way. Yes, I know they're young heroes and stuff, but like, where's a Champions book? Where's a Young Avengers book?
Mm.
Um, like America Chavez, Kate Bishop, uh, all these young characters that you just don't see anymore in comics, which is just frustrating.
Where is America? Damn, I'm so sad I missed all
Ultimates,
the.
just that's the only one we
I'm
have right now.
I'm so sad. I wanted to talk so much about that.
Um, yeah, let's see. What are you guys saying? What's the chat saying we need? Tilo says Incredible Hulk is boring. That's why nobody talks about it. I can see what you mean. Um, Cole says I was glad to see Tony Fleeks get work at Marvel, Chris Condon too, both great new voices. Yeah, and they need to include those people and keep bringing them on board. It would just be nice to see some of the like familiar talents that are bankable on these books.
I like all these Paul memes are getting fired off. Uncanny Suit, Ultimate Paul is crazy. Friggin' Flaming Jelly Beans give Paul a symbiote. That's wild.
I think it might be happening. Just saying.
That would be nuts. Nuts. Cole says need Donny Cates back. Yeah, completely agree. Libro Paradiso says Marvel and DC need to make it worthwhile for us to pay between $4 and $6 a comic. Art and story must be strong. Otherwise, we go elsewhere. Well, you say that, but Marvel dominates sales. So do we really go elsewhere? It's kind of the problem. Although I'm obviously I agree with you in principle.
Yeah, I think we all do. But at the same point, like, yeah, what does Marvel? What incentives does Marvel have to change if they're top dog?
Right.
That's why I think DC needs to, or the trajectory of what DC is doing right now should hopefully let that fire under Marvel's ass.
Yep. Get Shitty says ditch the red band.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm ditching red band in 2025. You already know that's what I said. It's my word, except for Wolverine Revenge. That I will follow all the way.
To the end.
Yes. Okay. Can we do the DC side of this?
Yeah, DC's easy. I just keep going.
Right.
Yeah, doing what you're
Keep
doing.
the Hey, put your foot on the pedal. You're good.
Honestly,
Drive a straight
yes.
line.
Yeah, with the trajectory DC is going right now is very good. So much that like I'm reading more DC comics than Marvel, which may be the first time since New 52. And New 52 was very short lived because that was a lot of number ones at the time. But it's looking good for DC right now.
So my first answer to this question is maximize Al Ewing. Al Ewing is
Hmm.
now working for DC for the first time. He's dipping his toe in Christmas Day, in fact, with Metamorpho #1, and then in March with Absolute Green Lantern. That is not enough. That is not enough Al Ewing at DC. They need to get him on a book that matters in the main continuity, and a big one, whether it be Batman, whether he, get Action Comics after John Ridley is over with that, whatever it is, Al Ewing is a writer to be prioritized.
There's a very certain Dark Justice League team that I think Al Ewing would do phenomenal
Oh,
with that is missing a title right now.
That would be insane.
I see that. Yep.
And like we talk about Al Ewing's Marvel stuff, and like this is a guy who knows his shit. He can talk about a Lee and Kirby issue that isn't even like a well-known issue that he references in a book that's about Defenders, which then references his stuff that he wrote in like a Nova tie-in. But from what I've heard, even though that's the case, DC is where his knowledge is at, which is insane to think about the possibilities there.
I want um I want the absolute universe to stay the course. Include don't do any kind of events. Let these things kind of sit. I want these creators, and as those new books get announced, to live on their own for a while. Like really set the foundation, so that way the when we do get a crossover, if we get a crossover, what I'm expecting we are, it becomes that much more impactful. It feels like that we've been kept on the edge of our seats.
I'm with you. I would love to see them keep the line relatively small, 7 titles max, but it seems like they might be looking to eclipse that by the end of 2025. We'll see. Um,
Steve Canaris brings up a good point. Yeah, what's the Vertigo stuff gonna look like? That's that's a great call. We don't have too much information on it outside of the it's kind of coming back, but yeah, what does that look like for some of their indie pieces?
That was gonna be mine. Yeah, I know bringing back Vertigo is a big deal, but I want to see what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the spirit of that, they need to figure out what Black Label is. What is Black Label anymore now that Elseworlds has been revived and Vertigo's revived? I feel like Black Label is a synthesis of both of those, but at the same time, I can't think of a Black Label story that you could not have made an Elseworlds, and I also can't think of a Black Label story that was not a DC like superhero book that you couldn't have made a Vertigo book. I guess the idea is that Black Label's like more adult storytelling, but where is it at? We saw the Bat Dick X amount of years ago, and since then, these Black Label books have been tame. So I don't understand the mission statement of that line anymore when they just dropped these two new imprints.
Solidify Black Label as the mature readers line in continuity for DC Comics, or just rename it Bat Label.
But that was Vertigo. Vertigo was for mature readers. Vertigo was, adult horror, adult suspense. Like that was its purpose outside of being the independent stuff was where you would do those things.
Wasn't that like after the fact though? Because like wasn't Swamp Thing and Animal like wasn't that printed as DC Comics?
Yeah, yeah. It was, but the subject matter dealt with in those books was always mature. It was meant to be that sophisticated horror type thing.
Sure, but I want it to be known while it's being published in weekly and like monthly books. Like this is mature readers in continuity comics. Like
Okay.
Black Label would be where Animal Man or Doom Patrol would exist rather than Vertigo having like Why the Last Man. If you can see the distinction.
But Vertigo would have both.
Well, I'm saying tell us what it is going forward.
Sure, sure. Okay.
Otherwise, if there's no distinction for it, it doesn't need to exist. Get rid of it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just confusing messaging, and I think DC doesn't need it anymore. It's time to phase that out. Give Kelly Thompson more work. She's got two books. She's on Absolute Wonder Woman and she is on Birds of Prey. That's wonderful. We're loving those. I think she could use one more um, for pay reasons, but also like, is there not a book that could use her talents right now? I would love to see a little more from her somewhere. Marvel, DC, somebody throw her a bag. Um, do something big with Green Lantern. I think that Green Lantern is still DC's ace in the hole. They thought that in 2010 or whatever when they released the Green Lantern movie, it stunk. But they're trying again, finally, all these years later with the TV show that I think is going to be great. And I contend that there is a brilliant space war movie with the Green Lantern characters at the forefront in our future. It's possible. In order to get to that place, the character in comics has to ascend. And I feel like what Jeremy Adams is doing is cool. Can we have a tremendous Green Lantern miniseries?
It's funny when you think of like a great Green Lantern war story miniseries. I'm like, oh yeah, Omega Men. It had Kyle Rayner in it, sure it wasn't really Green Lantern, but like that's the kind of feel I don't see in Green Lantern comics about the scope of things. It becomes a little too much superhero in space rather than a core. It's a police force. It's a military in a way. So I think there could be some interesting stuff there. Yeah.
Um, Finally, for me, for the love of God, make John Kent awesome. Do something with John Kent. I know Nicole Maines has plans. There's a series coming with John Kent and his boyfriend and Dreamer. They're all going to be in a story together, and we saw the love triangle kind of set up in an earlier one shot this year. That's cool, and I'm excited for that because I love me drama. But he has to be doing something. He cannot just be the bi kid. And I don't mean that in a denigrating way at all. He has to be more than just the sexuality. They need to take him and make him a star. And I believe that's possible. There's no reason why not. He's Superman.
That book's been teased with Deadshot and Catman on the team too, as like a Secret Six, like Suicide Squad book, which she's done. Nicole Maines did Suicide Squad before, with Sleeper on the team. So maybe it's a team book with John leading it. Which the idea of John Kent leading a team book is actually nice to me, because I want to see how he works with other characters, because that'll build his character more when he has to play on other people.
Leadership, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for anything they do with him as long as it feels relevant. I thought Absolute Power was setting him up for something big, and then I feel like that didn't happen. So I don't know. What can you do?
Yeah, that singular title for him was pretty cool, but
Get Shitty says DC can give Nicole Maines more stuff than Dreamer and her friends too. She's good enough to be a force. I completely agree with that. Nicole Maines has proven herself in 2024 that she can do big stuff, I think. So
And Steve Canaris came up with mine that I was thinking of. DC needs a super team like JLI. Needs a comedy super team like JLI. I think introducing the JLI in the movie means that we need something that people can go to in the comics as well. And I wouldn't mind, a book like that, to like I guess Booster's a little busy right now, but like Guy in a book with like Rocket Red and Fire and Ice, and have them deal with their weird power mix up that we don't really have a solution for right now. And that could be good. We got the whole Justice League as a global force now. Let's have the funny book in it as well.
oh, that's a good point for Justice League Unlimited. Man, really, really lean into the nooks and crannies of the DC universe. Make that like a highlight book, like Brave and the Bold was for the cartoon. Give us cool characters, give us, but keep playing into that mystery. I think that was I think it's a lot of fun at the moment. There's a good potential, there's good momentum on it, and keep the cameos and those kind of surprises coming, because that feels like such an interconnected world now.
Yeah, just give me the Mark Russell JLI book. Let's be real.
Ooh.
Electric says, I was hoping Red Band could be a brand of Marvel to tell stories that couldn't be main continuity with more grown up issues like Vertigo. Big miss, annoying readers the way they have with this.
That's a great idea.
Marvel technically has a brand like that called Icon that they just don't use.
Is that still around?
I mean, there's nothing being printed with it, but I still think they own it.
I don't think that's what Icon was for. In continuity.
I guess it wasn't in continuity. You're right. Yeah,
That was
No,
Marvel Knights.
sure.
It was like
Yeah.
independent. It was like for their independent stuff, because
Yeah,
Powers
that's-
was there.
It was to try to
there.
retain creators who were desperate to do indie work, but Marvel wanted to keep them, so they gave them Icon, and then all those people ended up doing the dip anyways, so it didn't matter. Chop Harder Alchemist says it could be good. Current Green Lantern and comics are amazing. Factor in the upcoming Lantern Corps and Absolute Green Lantern. We can set up some amazing space epics in the movie world. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Totally with you on that. But that's it, really. I think the big two are both in fine positions. I would shudder at someone who would argue that DC is in a worse position than Marvel. DC is, they really don't have to do much. Marvel has to impress me going into 2025, and I hope they can. They've got the Ultimates, though, which is to me the best book in comics, and I think that with the Ultimate line, they can really be in a position to do some big things. That timeline with the Maker's arrival, that's something to look forward to. And it's something that's been built upon. By the time we see him arrive, it'll be 2 years since they started teasing that. When have you seen something like that at Marvel in the last decade? Secret Wars by Hickman. That's it. The Avengers stuff.
Hmm.
It's very hype. Very, very hype. Steve Canara says Doom has to be better than Bloodhunt, right? Who knows? Who knows?
Has to be.
I thought
Let's not jinx
Blood
it.
Hunt
Yeah.
exactly. I thought Blood Hunt was gonna be the shit. It ended up being shit.
Yo, going back and listening through, it has been hilarious because there have been so many events that we are hyped for that landed flat. The issue 2 of Blood Hunt, everybody, I wasn't on that one, but everybody was excited. You guys were theorizing and like trying to speak highly of it. And then issue 3 came out and like, whoa.
Hey, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, can't be fooled again.
Oh man. All right. So we're gonna leave it there for the main topic. We've got a lot more show to do somehow. And we will get through it. But thank you guys for sticking out through this conversation. Keep telling us what you're excited about coming from the big two in 2025. Jay Sage with the 4.99 pound. Just joined. Got to show the boys some love. Really loving all the Super and Hulk books. Can't wait to see how it all goes. Thank you so much, Jay Sage. Really appreciate you and your support here over the last few weeks as a newer member of our community. So appreciate you, dude. Um, yeah. Now I asked you guys earlier to go ahead and give us some more nominations for the Image 2010s book club. And I'm asking again because there's way more of you here now, and we really need your help because there are just too many books that have been nominated, too many different books, not enough repeat noms, which is okay. I want you guys to nominate whatever it is that you are personally excited about. But in order for us to, figure out the 4 books, we need books with more than one nom. So we're throwing those out in the chat once again. Please do take the time to nominate a book if you haven't yet. If you already have, it's 1 book per person. So if you've nominated more than 1 book, just understand that I am not acknowledging more than one nomination from a person. So don't do that. Just nominate 1 book, the best book. So continue to do that while I tell you that patreon.com/the comics pals is the best way to support the show, to support your boys. If you are in a giving mood, it is the holiday season. So that's the way to give to us if you would like. We're going to be giving to you guys all month long. We've got a lot of great content coming your way. Like we said, we've got Al Ewing joining the show next week. And December 28th is the last main show of the year. And on that day, for those of you who are new to the show, you don't know about this, you've never heard of this, we will do our annual event, which is the Pallies. That is our award show where we give away awards based on what we think the best books were, the best writers, artists, creative teams, all of that we do on that day. Not only are we going to do that, but I have an idea for some categories that we're going to put out through youtube.com/the comics pals under the community tab, where you will be able to vote on categories that we'll announce the winners of on that day. You'll see those rolling out here in the coming days.
Best love interest, Paul.
Paul. That's a good one. Shit, we might even need to do that. I like that. Yeah, so that's going to be a ton of fun. The other thing we do is the predictions. I have already I already know who won the prediction game from
Damn,
last
dude.
year. I've already done all that work.
My shit was rough,
It's
bro.
you. It's always you.
Why? I don't know why. I'm not even saying I won this year. But the prediction game, we're going to play that day again to set the predictions to see who will be right in 2025. So I'm very excited for that as well. It's going to be a big day, and I hope to see a groundswell of you show up. I think it's our most fun show every year, and I hope to see you guys come hang out.
It's a good ass time. And it's a great time to reflect on the comics you've read throughout the year, and look forward to more in 2025. Definitely tune in for that stuff.
I'm down to Sean. I'm down to create some really wacky categories if you want to have some fun with this one. I want the milk carton award, biggest missing character in comics.
Yo,
Guardians of the Galaxy, Madam Web.
nah,
No,
man, I
we
got a whole movie. I don't know what you talking about.
Which was my most enjoyed superhero movies of this year so far.
Trash.
yeah, that's
Did you
psychotic.
guys see it?
Hell fucking no.
Exactly.
Yo, actually, Jade put it on, and she was like, she, she got 30 minutes in. Hey, it's just, all right. It's not too bad. And then we had to go somewhere for like a dinner or something like that. So she stopped maybe about 30 minutes before the movie ended. And she's like, "Wow, I can't wait for the sequel." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, I mean, there was like a lot of threads and stuff going on. Like, they're not gonna all resolve it at the end there, right? Like, surely there's more." I'm like, "Bro, that was a one-time movie. You're not getting anything more out of that."
Marco, you're so naive. Sony says otherwise. That Craven
Nah.
movie's coming out. She's gonna show up somewhere. Come on.
Oh man. Dan Thing says I'm always behind because I only buy the trades, but I would like good fun mystery crime solving Batman stories, no heavy arcs. Buy Batman Dark Patterns. It's coming out,
Oh
starts
yeah.
in a couple weeks. Batman Dark Patterns with the Hayden Sherman art, Dan Waters on the words. That's going to be great. Sounds like it'll be right up your alley if you're looking for mystery, crime stuff with no heaviness. That's it.
Or the current Long Halloween by Jeff Loeb and various artists. Also kind of
Yep.
has that tone.
Yep. Totally. Get Shitty says Sean got one prediction wrong. Blade movie. No, 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 no. No.
Sean's cooking the books already.
That was not one of the predictions. What Get Shitty is referring to, I assume, is the bet with Kefis, one of our listeners. And I haven't lost that bet. That bet is still in play. And by the way, that bet will be in play until Mahershala Ali says he is not playing Blade. And that's not going to happen. We will never hear those words.
If he leaves the mortar coil, is that enough?
If he
No.
dies,
Yeah.
He never said it.
He never said it.
Yeah, we
then
don't
it's
we
in
don't know.
play.
I'm saying if you guys want to bet with Sean, you need to read the fine print. You need to make sure the specifics are there.
You're
This was too
saying
open.
that, but Kefis, the person that I actually bet with, has agreed lockstep. It's only you guys that seem to have a problem. Kefis and I are on the same page. Oh, man. All right. So we talked about the fact. What's so funny?
Yo, Hendrik says Sean's knuckles about to pop out of his skin with how tight he's holding on to Blade.
Schnicked.
No, I made a bet with an individual. That individual and we understand what it is. I'm not holding on to nothing. I just know that I'm right. That's all. Aaron Ruiz says, "Oh yeah, what about Cale's bet? Do we have the numbers for Wonder Woman and Superman?" Hey, Aaron Ruiz, did you notice that Cale's not here right now? My man is ducking. He's ducking because he knows what the answer is, and he don't want to be here to show face to be clowned on for being wrong. We'll dive more into that in the future.
That heat.
Oh, absolute overthinker. Totally right. Yes, and I should know that. Dark Patterns is next week. I can't wait. It's gonna be real, real good. We talked about the Image 2010s, that being the subject of the next and final book club of the year. What we need to do now is go over the first picks. We'll do our first pick for the Image Comics top 5 countdown. These are the books that came out during the 2010s from Image that we loved a lot. And I want to say that the book doesn't have to be something you finished, because a lot of these fucking books won't be books that I finished. But they do have to have started in 2010. That's the only caveat in my mind. Otherwise, go nuts.
Uh,
You want to go first, Marco?
yeah, I'll start. So my number 5 is my first ever uh, Image comic, which is Planetoid, by Ken Gehring. Came out in 2012. It is a small book, 6 issue mini, which ended up getting a follow up series called Praxis years down the road. And it's writer artist Ken Gehring. And um, it uh, it holds a special place for me because it opened up my eyes to the possibility of more. Um, the art was great. Before then, manga was the only place I saw writer artists, and in this case, Ken Gehring did both. So it just gave me a perspective, and I really appreciated this book for that. The story is great, a lot of fun, a quick run, and then this led me into more of the sci-fi world that was uh, all over Image at that time, and eventually led me into some things like Saga. And so for that reason, number five is Planetoid. Strong place in my heart. I have the single issues for that, for both the original run and for Praxis, the follow up.
Thick. Okay.
I've never even heard of that book, to be honest.
Yeah,
Me
bro,
neither.
dude, I was buying everything Image back then.
I guess I'll go. My number five is Snot Girl. Came out in 2016. This is Brian Lee O'Malley of Scott Pilgrim fame, with art by Leslie Hung. I just love Snot Girl. First, issue 16 finally came out this past week, and this book came out in 2016. So yeah, maybe not the best track record in terms of release, but when it was coming out pretty regularly, it was the book I would go to on the stands each week. Every cover looks like a fashion magazine. The character interactions are great. There's a lot. I love media like TV shows like Sex and the City or Girls, where it's a whole bunch of women that are you can hate. That sounds horrible, but like I like characters that are flawed and somewhat unlikable, but that makes you like them more. You know, that's kind of what this group of women is. And I really like it. It's fun. It's funny. It's one of like a really good funny book out there. Um, so Snot Girl is definitely up there as number five for me.
Sick. Oh man, this is tough. This was tough to put together because there are so many Image books that I love and I forget that I love. My number five is Invisible Republic. I feel like five people have read this book. It's Gabriel Hardman on art with Karina Becco on the words, but I think Gabriel probably they built the story together. They were husband and wife at the time, and or at least they were in a relationship, and they no longer are. But to me, this was the greatest thing that came out of their love was this brilliant series. It is a story. It's been a long time since I read it, but from what I remember, it's a story that takes place on another planet or in the future at the very least. And there's a suppression of information, and there's essentially this war that's going on. Um, in the margins, and there's something about a reporter who has to try to tell the truth about what's going on. It's a great story, very gritty, very low to the ground despite the sci-fi elements and stuff like that. Like I said, I don't remember all the details, but this is the kind of book when I read it I was like, I feel like this was fucking made for me. And there are a lot of Image comics that feel like that. This is one of them. I fell in love with Gabriel Hardman after this. Um, he is a brilliant talent artist wise, and I recommend this book to anybody who wants to read something a little not heavy but heady, and gritty, and a little dark. I think it's a great, phenomenal series.
That's a good pick. I have that signed by both of them. It's a great comic.
Oh,
Sean,
nice.
Nice.
Jeff Parker's Red Hulk run had Gabriel Harbin art. Just saying.
Huh. Well, I mean, shit. It's Jeff Parker, not Jeff Loeb, so maybe I'll read that.
Oh, the Jeff Parker Hulk run is Jeff Parker's run at Marvel is underappreciated, to be honest. But yeah,
Probably.
Invisible Republic, great pick. Yeah, great book.
I've always
Hell
heard of
yeah.
that one, but I've never it's short,
Yeah,
so
it's down your alley, Marco. I think you'd like it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even done. I don't. it's not finished.
That's the thing, though. As I'm putting this list together, there's multiple books where it's like, oh, this isn't done. We're not finished yet. So
I mean, I'm looking at my list right now, and 3 out of 5 are not done.
Black
does
Market
your list
Murder's
contain a
probably
book?
there.
I have a book on my list that probably will never be done.
That's so sad, dude. That's like it sucks because there's such good things here and things involved. I only have one that's incomplete at the moment. So
Gore Vidal says, friends pushed me to read Saga, a comic I thought I would like. I disliked it, but I continued to read it up until last year to frustrate those same friends who said, you must read Saga. It's awesome. No, it isn't.
damn.
It's like me avoiding Breaking Bad. Like at least you went
Well,
for it.
yeah, at least he
Yeah.
read it. I'm very interested to see where Saga will land for any of us on our lists, if at all. Because as great as Saga is discussed or was discussed, I feel like the narrative around it has shifted a lot since its return. So I'm real curious to see where you guys are going to put that book.
Yeah.
I won't say.
Can't say any.
I
Yeah,
won't say.
yeah, but I don't think Saga sucks though. I think Saga. I think Saga's pretty good. I think it's pretty good.
We'll see where it lands.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So we'll return with that. We'll get back to that top 5 countdown. Probably not next week because we're gonna have Al on. We'll see where we stick it in, but it'll definitely happen. Marvel is sticking in a new Thing miniseries next year. Thing has had a few of these, and it makes sense because he's the most popular of the Fantastic Four by far, and they want to get something new out featuring at least one of them for the movies. So they are going to be pushing out a Thing series. This is going to be written by Tony Fleeks, somebody who is, who's got name value now. He's on the rise. He
Okay.
just did Feral.
Yeah.
Um, so he's a pretty big name now, or at least a rising star. And Leonard Kirk is going to be doing the art, and that's a pretty bomb creative team, I think.
Leonard Kirk did the Matt Fraction Fantastic Four run when they had the red suits.
Yep.
So that's a pretty steady hand for a Thing comic. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And they're billing it as Thing versus every superpowered criminal and bounty hunter in New York City. It's him versus everybody. It's Thing smashes the Marvel universe.
Cool. That's what I want out of the Thing book. I want clobber in time. Give me that.
Sounds silly, a little reverent. That's cool.
And I will say, Greg Land did a cover for this. I think the Thing might be Greg Land's character. That's a damn good thing.
Huh. Sure. I just don't know what would happen if he had to draw the Thing in the interiors.
Whoa. Let's not go too far. All right. I'm talking covers.
Oh shit. You guys want to hear from Tony Fleeks real quick?
Is he here?
Yes. Tony, you want to no.
Oh, he's in your apartment.
he wrote a statement for the solicit, and he said, what I love about Ben Grimm is that he's just a regular hardworking guy who happens to have superpowers. He's Jack Kirby. He's not easily impressed by all of the outlandish cosmic stuff constantly going on around him. The fun thing about this book is trying to figure out, okay, then what would surprise the Thing? What would catch him off guard? In that spirit, we're throwing every villain in the official handbook of the Marvel Universe at him, trying to pit him against some opponents you wouldn't expect. We've got Leonard Kirk drawing the Thing. Believe me, you're going to see old Benji clobber some guys he's never clobbered before. Okay.
That's cool.
Man, throw some weirdos at him like By Beast.
Sorry?
By Beast.
Excuse me? That's a Google.
By Beast is one of those characters I would have loved to write at Marvel because I want him to have I want him to be his thing is like he's a big hulking guy with two faces. He fights the Hulk all the time. He got like two faces on top of each other. But I want him to have he also came out as bisexual and he has to fight by erasure. But I don't know if Marvel
That's
would let that
so
happen.
funny.
Yeah, people are just saying I don't exist. I'm either singular beast or other beast. But I don't know. There's a bit there.
Oh man. Wow.
Yo, I've ever since the Walter Mosley thing book, the
That was good. Tom Riley. Yeah.
so good. Anytime there's a mini for thing, I'm down to pick it up. There was one even like Steve Croque recently that I missed out on, but I wanna grab that one.
Do you want to grab a DC comic for $1.25? Yes or no?
Ooh, yes, please.
Where do I have to go for this, Sean? Tell me.
In order to get that, because that's a low, low price, you have to go to Dollar Tree.
Sorry.
You, yes, Dollar Tree.
They're
Dollar Tree is now selling DC comics at their store, first issues of various, well, Batman mostly related characters for $1.25. Of course, most comics nowadays are $3.99 or better. So $1.25 is an absolute steal. They've got a whole bunch of different offerings here. Superman, various number ones across the eras, Rebirth Superman, but also New 52, Rebirth Wonder Woman, Batman number one from different eras. It runs the gamut. Batman Adventures number one, Batman Eternal number one, Nightwing Rebirth, Harley Quinn Rebirth, Batman and Robin, Batman, Scooby Doo, Teen Titans, Super Sons,
Rutro.
Superman. Sorry.
I just said Rutro.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a lot of books that they're putting out number ones of. What's interesting to me about this is that they're only number ones.
Hmm.
Like you can buy one of these, and that's really cool, and you'll read it, and you'll probably enjoy it because these are great books. But then what?
Yeah, like where do you go?
Are they pulping the Dollar Trees themselves to make the paper for these? I just feel like I don't understand. Like I understand the point of this being in a Dollar Tree, but you can get these probably cheaper as back issues. It's
Yeah,
more an
I at
accessibility
this
thing, I
point I would
guess.
imagine that would probably be true for a lot of these.
Yeah.
I can't speak to it with authority, but that sounds right in my mind. And also, I when I first read this, I was like, okay, so these are probably like overstock, right? That
Yeah.
some distributor or another has, probably Diamond, and they made a deal with them to get these into Dollar Tree stores. But from what I've read, that's not the case. These were actually printed books to be used for this purpose. And I'm shocked by that considering the price of paper and everything else. Like, do they really think that they're going to sell enough to justify reprinting these books?
Yeah, I'd select volume. Like, what's the end goal for that? Is it actually sales? Is it just distribution? If it's for the purposes of getting the word out that these books exist elsewhere outside of the shop, like this is it feels similar to when they did the Walmart thing. So like, are they are they doing a test run to see if they put these kinds of books elsewhere outside of specialty shops, and then price test? They can maybe move the out of this like the shop, the specialty market.
Get people who would not normally buy comics.
And
Yeah.
if there's volume, does that justify expanding?
It's the first hit for the drugs.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, it's a tester to be like, hey, this population here, this makes sense to maybe publish books. Maybe you can reduce the quality of paper. You can reduce the cover. You can reduce the color, the printing, because back in the day, comics were cheaper because of the lack of paper quality. Like now we have really good quality colors, quality of paper to be able to show vibrancy of color. Maybe this is a way to enter a new market for to hit different people the same way compact comics in my mind are.
Some of these are like sort of recent, like Green Lantern War Journal. Unless there's another Green Lantern War Journal that I'm not aware of, it's listed here. If that's the most recent one, of course, by PKJ, then that's like that just happened. And I'm not even saying that as a negative thing. I think that's okay. Like I'd like to see this test. I'd like to see this test. What if you took, I don't know, issue one of, just for argument's sake, Green Lantern by Jeremy Adams, and you put that out there for $1.25. That's the current Green Lantern story. What happens? These are so old in a lot of cases that finding the next chapter requires you to do a whole lot of shit, right? But you could theoretically be like, wow, that was pretty good. And then immediately go get the next trade. And it's probably on shelves, like right now.
I think the key is to see if the content of this book points you in the right direction to finish it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you look at the list, there's multiple repetitions for things, right? The Flash, DC
Yeah.
Universe Rebirth, The Flash, New 52, Flash Rebirth, right? Those are three for just that character. Same with Green Lantern, Green Lantern Corps, Green Lantern War Journal, DC Hal Jordan, Green Lantern Corps, Corps Rebirth. But I was thinking that, but then how do you follow up on that, right? Like, does that mean that you ship out an equal distribution of all of these books, and based on which sells the most is where you start to you decide, okay, actually, actually, New 52, Flash worked out. Are we republishing all of that run?
I don't know if that's where it's going. In my mind, you know what you do at the end of this issue? 14 or 7-day free trial to DC Universe.
There it is. There it is.
You drive. These are just impulse buys at the Dollar Tree store, or kids urging their parents to buy it. And then there's the carrot on the stick of more money for DC down the line. Those free trials are scams. Let's be honest. How many free trials are turned into paid trials for you, Sean?
I rarely ever do free trials, actually. So, because I know how I am. So
Okay,
I just
but yeah, but that there's a point to it,
yeah.
Like I did the Pokemon TCG mobile game free trial battle pass. Thankfully, I canceled it the day before. But like the idea is to see Marco got.
No, I did. They didn't get me. I put it on my calendar, but I did it. I tried to do it the day before, but I wasn't sure because then it says like it doesn't affect, you don't get the rewards or something.
You still keep them. It's a lie.
Oh
But
damn.
that's how it's obtuse to get you, and that's how they get money. That's how they turn a $1.75 purchase to more direct money for them monthly.
I'll be very interested to see where this goes. Notably, it's not the first time that DC has partnered with Dollar Tree. They've had stuff before. They've had trades at Dollar Tree before. The price is tremendous. They're polybagging the books as well, which is kind of interesting. Um, I want to see if we ever hear about numbers from this initiative or, how DC might plan to parlay this as a one-off thing. If it gets comics in people's hands who normally wouldn't read them and potentially creates new fans, and that is like the good. That is the objective good is more readers, however we get them. So, yeah.
And I think also, I wonder if after this too, or at least at launch, I would have done, sure, the single issues, but then also you get like a grab bag type thing. You get a collection of five, it's $5 instead, or that way you provide a bit more variety. You can, it reminds me of when some of the spinner rack stuff existed, or at the very least, at like a TJ Maxx, they used to have, just random backed comics. I like that. I like that idea of just taking random issues for cheap, flipping through. That's how I found out about the Nom, and started reading about that character. Found Wayne Van Sant as a writer. Like,
I
Wayne
will.
Van Sant. What did he do?
the Nom. Then he did Katusha War Comics. He ended up just doing more
Okay.
War Comics. Yeah, I
Because
interviewed him years ago.
yeah. I remember that name from when we did the thing with Garth Ennis.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yep.
I will say, if anyone has a bead on one of these DC Comics racks, once Dollar Tree gets rid of them, let me know.
Yo, they're fire actually. Yeah.
Cardboard,
That's
but
a
I
good.
would kind of use it. I would have fun with
That's
that.
a great idea.
Hell yeah.
Yo, can I buy that?
I'm sure you go to the right Dollar Tree, they'll make an exception.
Buy everything on the standee and then buy the standee.
And
It's
yeah,
only probably about
yeah.
$100, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I lied earlier when I said that we would talk about the result of Cale's bet next week or down the line because we're going to talk about it now. Because we're going to talk about the sales of 2024's comics. And up front, we're going to discuss what the best seller was. Because, of course, at the end of the year, Marvel and DC, they want their bragging rights. And sales has been a very big conversation this year because we've had a lot of big number ones launched. Don't forget, we had TMNT, which did what was it, 350, 350K, somewhere in there between
Yeah.
2 and 350. I think it was 350. We had GI Joe that launched at 250. We had Absolute Batman that launched at 400K. We had Ultimate Spider-Man that had a pretty big launch and many reprints down the road. Now the big two both want to be able to tell you that their biggest number one was the biggest number one of the year. And they're holding up Ultimate Spider-Man number one and Absolute Batman number one to suggest this. DC has been really, touting that this is the biggest book. DC PR, in fact, put that out there. They made a press release on their own website saying that it's the biggest seller in comics, which is hilarious to me, not because they shouldn't do it or whatever, but because I can't even remember the last time I saw something like this. And on top of that, they're saying this without a backup with numbers. They don't publish their numbers, so they're just making a statement, and we can either believe it or not believe it.
It's the easiest statement to make when none of it is fact checkable.
Not by
Yeah.
us.
Yep.
Either side could say it. Yeah.
But is it true? Is it true that Absolute Batman is the number one seller? I had a problem with that. I mean, not I don't care what the actual answer is. I just don't believe it. Why? Because of Ultimate Spider-Man. Ultimate Spider-Man number one has had 7 printings. It's a lot. That is a lot. And Rich Johnson apparently wasn't necessarily clear on the realities of this either, but he says uh, it's gone through 7 printings, and while its first printing sold less than both Absolute Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, talking to distributor sources has confirmed total orders of around 450,000 across 7 printings. Now, Absolute Batman has only had a couple of months and still has a 4th printing to drop on Boxing Day. I don't know what the fuck Boxing Day is, by the way. What is that?
It's the day after
It's like
Christmas, I believe.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like for like
you're,
the UK people, right? English.
yeah, UK.
Okay.
Yeah, it's what I think they gather all the boxes from Christmas or something like that.
But if you take 2024 as a whole, Ultimate Spider-Man number one will still have sold more copies to stores than Absolute Batman number one.
What? Huh? Wait.
I have issues with this.
Okay.
I think that what you should be touting as your number should be first issue sales and not reprints, because then this happens where Spider-Man has had more leeway time or like headway to be able to have that bigger number because it came out in what, April, May? So all those printings allow that number to just grow. Whereas I'm sure if Absolute Batman could probably hit similar numbers if it also started at the same time. So like in my eyes, it's like, all right, first printing is what matters.
I would agree, but sometimes first printings don't get the full print run that's necessary, or at the very least, Ultimate Spider-Man could have a first print like total full first print run of let's say 300K, and the Batman orders for a first printing were 250. Then they would never inherently surpass that, even if total they had sold more. So
Then you
it's a
don't.
weird way to it's a weird metric, right? I think you have to think of the totality of printings as well, but I don't know how that gets. You can't confirm that data.
I'm with you on that. It would be unfair to lock them into only the first printing, especially in the case of Ultimate Spider-Man, because it was notoriously underprinted. Stores did not order a lot of copies of the Ultimate books because Ultimate Invasion performed. I mean, it performed well, but it performed under what they thought it would, and there was a malaise amongst readers because they're like, "Yo, this is too expensive." So they underordered all the initial Ultimate books. Then they went crazy ordering them after the fact in the second and subsequent printings because the demand was so hot. So Ultimate Spider-Man would automatically be out of the equation for that fact alone.
Then the stat is just dumb with the numbers.
Well, I mean, it's
Yeah,
all
it's all dumb.
we're
Yeah,
talking about this due to bragging rights. But I think it represents a very good thing for comics. When we get to look at the well, if we even get it, we might not get it. The Comic-Con numbers, you know, being able to see books at 250K, 300K, 400K, you have to go back a very long time to see that kind of number. Like way fucking long.
and the fact that TMNT is in the equation here too is big. It's not just big too.
Yep. GI Joe is in that equation. 250.
And again, one of those that just is more recent. So that could have been breaking numbers as well.
Dude, when we did the New 52 deep dive, we were talking about the big numbers at the time, and it was like 100, it was 100 plus K. But it wasn't in the 400s. That's a big time number. And again, you can only pop a number like that every so often in the modern comics landscape. You cannot do that all the time. But they managed to pull it off here. And regardless of anything else, I think it's good for the industry to see those kinds of numbers.
Agreed. Even if the achievement you're touting is made up.
Now to the bet part, which is what we all want to hear. We said on this show, Cale made a bet with Kefis, and the bet was, I believe Kefis was saying Absolute Superman would outsell Absolute Wonder Woman, number one. And Cale went to bat for Abs Wonder Woman, number one. The winner or the loser would have to buy the winner the very first trade of the book that sold the most. Now, because we do not receive individual numbers, like I can't tell you, a book sold this exact amount of copies anymore. We decided we would go based on the rankings of the books. That's what we said. And we have that data now in front of us, courtesy of ICV2. They say that for the month of October, Absolute Wonder Woman was the number 2 best-selling book behind Absolute Batman. And that for November, Absolute Superman number 1 was the best-selling book overall. Which, according to the agreement that these two individuals had in place, that would make Kefis the winner.
I think Cale, once Cale comes back to talk about this himself, why would you bet Wonder Woman over Superman in any situation? That was a bad bet, Cale. Come on. I know Absolute Wonder Woman from us readers looked the most different, and the creative team was a little more exciting. But come on, numbers wise, you don't bet against Superman.
Right.
Well, maybe once he comes back from witness protection, we can.
He's still out in the fourth world.
That's the canon now. Yeah.
Yeah.
He opened a mother box. Whoops.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think this is fun. I think it's fun. I think it's funny. I can't wait for Cale to be here so we can dunk on him for this bet. It was a foolish bet. There was no reason to take this bet.
He'll dunk on himself. Let's be real.
And we will also engage because we must. There's no way around it. Hendrik Perry says, but she has a berserker sword. Nobody gives a fuck.
Does that affect the numbers? I'm not sure it did.
Not in the slightest.
The sword wasn't big enough.
Yeah.
Size matters, apparently.
Hey, yo.
I think, look, Absolute Wonder Woman suffered from coming out the same month as Batman, but it is what it is. You took a bet. It is what it is.
It happens.
Mhm. That being said, a great year for sales for comics. I love to see these kinds of numbers. People are out there going to stores and shopping. It's a beautiful thing. And hopefully the big two have plans in place and Image and everybody else to keep people buying. This will not happen again. Next year, you're not going to see books doing 400 plus K like this. You're not going to see books doing 200 plus K like this. You don't have number ones of this stature in the chamber. So what else can they do?
I
What's
don't
the
know.
next rabbit you pull out of a
I think
hat?
Absolute
Yeah.
Spider-Man or Ultimate Batman might come out and change things.
Yo, crossover. There you go. There you
Good
go.
crossover. Good Image book.
It is actually. Yeah, it's a very good book.
Never read it. Hey, what's up? Comics are dope. BJ Kicks hanging out. He says, Sean with the fresh lineup. Thank you, brother. He says, blew my mind hearing that Absolute Batman #1 outperformed the first ever renumbering of Batman in New 52. Huh.
Okay.
Interesting. That's a good point. And I wonder what the reasoning is for that.
Well, it's a relaunch as opposed to a brand new universe. Like that's if this version of Batman. That's if they renumber this version of Batman. After the Jeff Loeb, Jim Lee stuff.
But it was a renumbering, but it was also a
Like new
reboot.
universe. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So
But also everything was rebooting at the time, so maybe money was spread thinner for
True.
orders. So
yeah, more books, more volume. Yeah, distribute that better. Yeah, true. This is an add-on.
So we hit our likes goal for today. We killed it. We killed the initial likes goal. We killed the secondary likes goal. You guys are fantastic, and I encourage you to continue to hit the likes button. If you haven't, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, because that helps us. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers. We can only do that with your help. Now, whoa, 500.
I was like, what happened?
5,000.
How many did we
I'm
lose?
sorry. 500 is years ago.
No.
Shit, man, 1,000 is only like it's only like
last
last
right?
year. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why. Actually, we in what was it? It was in like May. We are like, wow, 3,000 or like 2,000, yeah, 3,000 or something like that.
We weren't at we were at 3,000 in May, were we?
Yeah, yeah. It was
I don't remember
as
numbers.
I've been going back, yeah,
Oh,
like around
okay.
that time, May, April.
All right. Beautiful. Love to hear it. So we are going to play a game. We are going to spin the wheel. But before we do that, I want to shout out the rest of our patrons, the ones who support this show. We have no sponsorships on this podcast, which means that your support is everything to us. It is how we get by. So thank you to Paul Powerhouse Smith, Andrew the Galaxian Smith, Neon Knight the Cosmic Avenger, Matthew the Shade Cosmo, BJ Kicks of Comics Are Dope, who is here with us and has a great YouTube channel called Comics Are Dope, The Living Blade Boss Frontier, The Grand Alchemist, Chop Harder Alchemist, who is in the chat, John Barrier B, Todd Tremor Butler, Cameron Cavernous Gordon, David Melendez Doria, aka Doomsday, Cameron Torn Thornton, Steve Swarm Canaris, who is in the chat, Brian Rage Redmond, Panda v Panda, Ted Wong, Mad Max, the absolute overthinker, who was here with us in the chat, and Blur Jose. Your origin is coming soon. But today, I want to say hello and welcome to the Spear of Judgment, Jay's Jumble. So, here we go. Judgment. We all engage in the judgment of others every day. In big ways and small, we run people through the filter of our worldview and decide who they are. Loving more and judging less is something we should all aspire to. It's something Jay's older brother, Izzy, often preached to him. Jay could be fearlessly loyal to his allies, but he had a high set of standards and a habit of judging people harshly who didn't meet them. While Jay felt no reservations about doling out his judgments of others, it was his brother's verdict on his actions that meant the most to him in the world. So the fact that they didn't always see eye to eye pains him greatly. But look at the world. Someone has to stand up and be strong enough to say what's wrong and put a stop to it. Judge and jury. Without power, what does judgment matter? It was his brother who was chosen by the fates to wield the spear of justice, not him. But that wouldn't stop Jay from being involved in taking back their city. That's why he followed Izzy to the scene of a riot downtown. He wanted to see his brother in action, but he also wanted action himself. Judge, jury, and no. He couldn't go that far, could he? The scene was out of a movie. Jay could hardly believe his eyes. It was chaos, people running for their lives as one of the seemingly endless gangs attacked the city. Jay zipped across the battlefield, ducking down and taking cover where he could until he found his brother, throwing his spears of justice with a true aim. It was beautiful to watch, and for just a moment, Jay lost himself. That moment was all it took for a goon to approach him from behind and attack, swiping at Jay with a knife. Izzy saw this and yelled for his brother, giving Jay just enough of a heads up to turn and just barely dodge the attack, getting nicked across the face for his carelessness. Izzy threw desperately to save his brother, but as he released, he was tackled down. A spear intended to strike his brother's attacker was now headed straight for Jay. Without time enough to react, Jay closed his eyes, not having a clue what to expect upon impact. Maybe the judgment of the spear would find him wanting. Jay! Izzy exclaimed, forcing his brother's eyes open. In his hand, he held the spear. It was heavy, but it felt right in his possession. It wanted to be with him. He turned on the goon, smirked, and struck him in the chest with the spear, causing his eyes to bulge and blacken. See the pain you've caused. See all the hurt. I've reached a verdict, and I find you guilty. The pain was overwhelming and tearing the man to shreds, but Jay had no intention of stopping. He finally had the power. He could be judge, jury, and even the executioner. Just then, Jay felt a hand on his shoulder. Jay, you have to stop. This isn't the way. Jay turned and looked at his brother, seeing his pleading eyes, feeling his judgment upon him. He pulled the spear back. The brothers fought side by side that day for what felt like hours. They were among great heroes in a battle that won't soon be forgotten. Now they had something new to bond over. Welcome, Jay, to the Pals Verse. Thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoy your stay. Now we've got a... Go ahead.
I was gonna say the Spears siblings.
Yep, the brother Spears.
Hey,
Brittany and Jamie Lynn have some competition now.
good stuff.
Oh my goodness. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you did, the only way for you to get a nickname and a shout out is by joining us over on patreon.com/thecomicspals, and we will give you a similar treatment. All right. That now means we can get into the final bit for today, which is a game. Tyler's going to spin the wheel that you guys see on the screen, and whatever it lands on will be the game that we play.
Y'all ready?
Let's hit it.
Let's go. What are we getting here on the spin that wheel? Cale's Comic Con. I remember how this works, even though Cale's not here. Okay, you guys remember how this works, right?
So the way it works is one of us is throwing a Comic Con, and we have to guess, the other people have to guess what the theme of the con is. And the way you guess is by asking who you can bring along with you. You are invited, but in order to bring your guest, that guest has to fit the theme of the convention. So since Cale isn't here, is there anyone in particular who wants to be the guy, or should I be the guy?
I have a hard one.
I have
All right.
one too, yeah.
Well, we'll run Marco's first, and if it's quick, maybe we can do another one. Go
Okay.
for it.
Okay, so I'm throwing a Comic-Con, guys. Start guessing.
Marco, can Swamp Thing go to this convention?
No.
No? Ooh, well, Marco's not there then.
Can Batman go?
No.
Can Spider-Man go?
Can Batgirl go?
Nope.
Can Dream of the Endless go?
No.
Can Detective Chimp go?
Nope. You guys are thinking too bright.
Does this have anything to do with comic book characters, Marco?
It does.
Okay. Right.
A
Glad we
certain
have
type.
a baseline.
Uh,
Okay. Can Doctor Doom go?
Nope.
Can Nightcrawler go?
Nope.
Can Mephisto go?
Nope. These choices are a little too colorful, guys.
Can the Thing go?
Nope.
Can Marv from Sin City go?
Yes.
Is this a convention for black and white characters?
Black and white comics, yeah.
Okay.
You guys started just going down a list. I'm like, all right, this is gonna take. There's no direct way to do some of this.
All right. I'll go with mine then. So I'm throwing a convention. Who can go?
Can Howard the Duck go?
No.
Can Daredevil go?
Nope.
Can Galactus go?
No.
Can Poison Ivy go?
No.
Can Silver Surfer go?
No.
All right. Can Wolverine go?
No.
Can Nova go?
No.
Can Green Lantern go?
No.
Can the Guardians go? Guardians of the Galaxy go?
Can't guess a
All
whole
of them?
team of people.
All of them? Well, I'll answer that. No. Well, canonically, one of them could have went.
Oh shit. Can Cosmo go?
No.
Can Jean Grey go?
No.
Can Mantis go?
Nope.
Sorry. Go ahead, Marco.
Can Kitty Pryde go?
No.
Can Green Goblin go?
Oh. No.
Dang.
Okay.
Sean, what do you think? I've been thinking like cosmic. Do you have like an angle you've been going for right now?
Hell no, I'm scattershot, bro.
Can Constantine go?
No.
Can Uncle Ben go?
No. He's dead.
Fuck.
Oh, he's dead.
That's not a clue, though,
It's,
right?
no, it's just a fact.
Damn. Can Kamala Khan go?
No.
Comics Are Dope says, can Darkseid come?
Can Darkseid come? No, he cannot. I will say there's a dress code.
Marco, you're up?
Yeah. Can Lobo go?
No.
Can Magneto go?
No.
Are you thinking helmets?
I was thinking either helmets or capes. I figured, he covers both.
Yeah. Can Rocket go?
No.
Can Gamora go?
Nope.
Can Groot go?
No.
Damn. Say naked
You're
characters.
You're stuck on this Guardians of the Galaxy here.
Steve Matthews says, can Ultron go?
I'll allow it.
Is the theme characters that aren't wearing clothes?
No.
No, because I said Groot. Groot don't got no clothes. Can. Okay, you said Ultron can go? Can Cypher go?
From the X-Men?
Yeah.
What the hell does that have to do with Ultron? No. You're like, where's the connecting tissue between those two?
I was gonna ask, can Warlock go?
Then why did you just ask Warlock?
Well, I want to see
Yo.
if there's something tied to that individual
Well,
first.
Warlock can't go either.
Damn.
Can Brainiac go?
No.
It's not a robot.
To be
He's
fair, I'm
Tony
not sure
Stark.
there's only a couple of DC characters I think that would fit this.
Oh, can Tony Stark go?
Oh yeah, he can.
Okay. Can Cyborg go?
No.
Can uh can Iron Lad go?
Yes.
No shit.
I don't know if it was an individual thing.
Could have been an age limit.
Ultron is a robot.
But Tony isn't.
I know. How about Victor Mancha?
Victor Mancha. No.
I got another one.
Can Red Tornado go?
Sure.
Can Vision go?
Sure.
Okay. Is the theme androids?
No, but you're getting close.
Oh yeah, Tony's not an android.
Yeah. What color is Ultron?
Whatever you want him to be.
Like metal,
Gold.
you know.
He's
white,
what?
I guess.
What'd you say, Sean?
Metal?
Oh, interesting.
Is it metal-based characters?
And what do you mean by that?
Like they have metal in their costume design.
You're the closest. But I need a little more.
They
Man, this is very. What's the exact verbiage here?
I think I might be being a little too specific because I think Marco is probably as close as it's going to get.
like metal-based.
Encased
Metal.
in metal is what I'm going for. Tony Stark,
Okay.
Iron Man, full suit
Yeah.
of armor.
Sure.
Cyborg has fleshy bits. Victor Mancha, no, because that's like a biosynthetic flesh. Ultra, all metal. Red Tornado, all metal. I would have also taken Doctor Doom. That's what I looked at for reference.
Ah, damn.
So no metal detector at this convention. Very dangerous convention.
Okay.
Goes off all the way.
All right. I like that. Comics are dope guest metal costumes. Would you have said that?
I think I would have allowed that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, comics are dope wins. Marco wins. That was good. That was good. That was tough. Brain teaser. I like it. Oh, can Junkyard Joe go? I wish I had said that. Fuck.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I would have allowed that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That would have been a good one. Shit. Cool. We haven't played a round of Kale's Comic Con in a very long time, and I think it's hilarious that we landed on that when Kale isn't here. But I still enjoy that game. It's fun. Hopefully you guys did too. Thank you for playing in the chat. I saw so many of your ideas, and I was just throwing them out because I'm like, I don't know what the fuck else to say. So I feel like it was you guys who got us on track though. One of you, I don't remember which one it was,
Yeah,
but
whoever said Ultron.
yeah, whoever said
Steve
Ultron.
Matthews.
There you go. It's playing well. The next time that we will be live with you is this Thursday for Pals Pulls. We're gonna have a great episode of Pals Pulls. The industry is closing out the year real strong, so it's been fun reviewing some of these books. And in order to find out what we'll be reviewing on Pals Pulls, we need you to listen to Pals Previews, which drops every single Monday. You can find it at 1 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you tune in. We're going to tell you what we're going to be reviewing that week. We're going to tell you guys what honorable mentions we have, meaning the books that we are most excited about coming out that week that aren't going to make the main show. And we also put a spotlight on one of our favorite books. I spotlighted Kaya this week, a book that I always talk about. Who knows what we'll spotlight next week? You got to tune in to listen. I want to get that show up into the 1,000 views. So if you haven't checked it out, if you haven't given it a shot yet, please do. And if you like it, and if you don't like it, whatever your feelings are, please leave thoughts in the comments so we can iterate on it and make it better for you guys if it needs to be made better. We would love to hear from you, your thoughts.
Honest feedback is wanted in this situation. I appreciate all the good words people have said about it, but if there's something we can improve, let us know.
Yeah, please share that. Also, speaking of sharing, share us out on social. Come share your thoughts with everything happening in our Discord community. Come hang out with us. Ishmael kept asking about Marvel Rivals and forgot to ask us again. We I tried to play with listeners the other night, but I couldn't because my computer wasn't letting me. But I'm on PS5, so I'm gonna jump on here in a little bit. I really want to play.
It works well on console. I've been playing on Xbox a bit, but I want to play on my PC because that's where all my friends are, and ranked is specific to platform. But I am having a lot of fun with it. A lot of fun. The thing I like most about it is the voice lines and the character work. Like every time you start a match, two of the characters that are in your lobby will start talking to each other, and it's just like combinations and stuff they talk about you never think about. Like Magneto and Black Widow were in my lobby, and they start talking about how they had their childhoods taken away from them, and I'm like, that is genius. Like I've never seen those characters interact, but that's genius. Jeff the Landshark and Namor were talking, and Namor is like, hey, you wanted to help me take over the world? I'm with you, buddy. Jeff, come on, we can do this. Um, it's just good stuff. There's a lot of love in the game, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. And I put my username out on the Discord. If people want to add me, feel free. Just let me know who you are because there's no way of adding notes for a username. So I just kind of mentally remember. Thankfully, Izzy's Issues is his name, so I know who he is in my friends list on that. So, but yeah, let me know.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the Switch port. So
You're gonna keep waiting.
Yeah, you're gonna be waiting a long time. Yeah, we're on there. Join the Discord. The Video Juegos channel is where everybody's talking about Marvel Rivals. Everybody's been really cool so far. So just throw your username in there or whatever, and catch some groups, catch some games. I'm gonna be grinding this game because it looks mad fun. I didn't really give Overwatch too much of a shot, so I wanna give this a go. And yeah, you'll catch me on the battlefield. Thank you guys for hanging out. Really appreciate it. We will see you on Thursday or Monday if you make pals previews. Thank you for watching. Till next time, take care, guys.